Interesting fake and work. It's a touchdown to Ben Sims. Just love the poise of this young quarterback.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
You had to believe. You had to believe. Yeah. Because, man, we didn't help ourselves much. We didn't help the defense. Terrible field position. Couldn't make first downs. And all of a sudden we make a play. Yeah.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Jerome Ford, big seam. Jerome Ford is revving and tearing it up. Touchdown, Cincinnati, 79 yards.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Championship if you score in all likelihood. And perhaps the CFP. Jackson trying to turn the corner. And he did not get there. Darren McVay raced him to the pylon and made sure he came up inches short.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this Thursday afternoon, Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. We will be joined by Hall of Fame college football coach, Super Bowl champion head coach Barry Switzer at 3:15. A lot of things to get to. We'll do that. The chat room's open. YouTube 365 Sports. The text line's open, 254-339-1122. Baylor had a couple of nice commitments yesterday from Dangerfield High School, Aaron Hampton, and also Jacavian Rogers, both cornerbacks from Dangerfield. I brought up David Mims' conversation, former Baylor player and also played at Dangerfield earlier yesterday. And so by the end of the evening, they had both of them committed. And so that's, of course, that's down the road. It's not the class of 2022, but a pipeline perhaps rejuvenating to a great school in East Texas. But I want to get to this. Kliakoff, the Pac-12 commissioner today, Warren of the Big 12, Big 10 today, as there's constant news right now. Kliakoff saying college football expansion talks have boiled down to 5 proposals, mostly 8 to 12 teams. We know that. He believes the Pac-12 is the only league to not have voiced opposition to at least one of them. He says that they're most flexible. And there's all sorts of, like, what are you going to do here? The conversation has not really changed, but commissioners are now starting to talk about it, about whether it's going to be all conference champions, 5, and the highest rated group of 5. And there's even, you almost get the insinuation that the Power 5 conferences might say, why aren't we including the group of 5, and why don't we have our own playoff? And, of course, that's kind of going back to the rich want to get richer, the big boys want to be bigger.
Well, that's why I was, kind of surprised that Bob Bowlesby said what he said yesterday, although the last couple months it shouldn't be that surprising. But he said while automatic burst for the top Power 5 champions would benefit the Big 12, in the long run it's not in the best interest of college football, which I think is a pretty bold move to say, like, look, there by the grace of God go anyone if you're deemed a little guy and can't get in. The purpose of expanding the playoff is true expansion and inclusion in something. And so if you have the top, if you have automatic bids to the Power 5, which is a huge sticking point right now, then that means that you could legitimately get kind of a random 8-4 or 7-5 team into there if they happen to be the second team in there, and maybe that knocks out a group of 5 team that's rolling through, maybe even has a good Power 5 win that wouldn't get in because they're not automatic, bid or whatever. So I kind of admire him saying, like, look, the good of the one outweighed the good of the many in college football for so long, and we are where we are now, and the good of the one is what happened and almost killed the conference that he runs. So, yeah, maybe you put your self-interest at least a little bit to the side and think about what's best for the sport as a whole.
Well, here's the thing. Conference champions need to matter. And if that means somebody that was 11-0 doesn't get in because of whatever reason, which would not happen if you expanded, because we're seeing that 11 or 12-0 get in even if you lose, like Georgia. And there's only 4 teams. Conference championship games must matter more than just playing them because of money. Craig?
I mean, I agree. We're going in circles here with the college football playoff and the discussion surrounding it. I don't have any strong opinions on anything that was said, to be perfectly honest with you. It's more talk, and I'm at this point kind of ready to see action. Do it however you want to do it. I mean, yeah, the conference championships should matter. If they don't, why are we doing this? I mean, what's the point? Do we really want to wipe out a game like Baylor and Oklahoma State last week and lessen its meaning? I don't know why that would make any sense for anybody. I think that last week's game and all the emotions that were attached to it, that was pretty special. That ending was pretty special. That ending would have been, pretty fun even if it didn't have a whole lot writing on it. But the fact that it did just amped it up that much more. So, I mean, yeah, this whole talk about the playoff and the automatic qualifiers and all of that. I mean, Paul's got a passionate opinion on it. I know a lot of other people do too. I'm just kind of sitting here like, just figure it out. Like I'm honestly, I'm not trying to be like, Mr. I don't care. I'm so sick of hearing the circle that they're running in, and one day it's this, the next day it's that, then it's the alliance, and then it's both. I'm sick of it. Just figure the blank out, because it shouldn't be this difficult. It really shouldn't. Every other league in the entire world is able to put together a playoff, and you don't hear everybody bitching about, well, this team's not undefeated, or, oh my God, we have a team that's only 5 games above 500. Like, it never matters for these other leagues, but for some reason college football has to have like near perfection for you to be considered for anything. And if you had even slightly more than one imperfection, like, you're totally done. It's the only sport that does that, and part of that is the appeal of it is that you don't have a lot of mulligans. But if the current state of college football that we're going into is going to be one where you're just not going to have a lot of teams with unbeaten records, and that's just going to be what it is. Why are we okay for changes everywhere else, but for this one thing, we're like, but we can't have 2 lost teams in the playoff. Really? Because we can give like $1 million deals, wink, wink, attached to charity for like offensive linemen out of nowhere, and not everybody's cool with that, but we're just like, all right, that's part of the deal. We can, have coaches just leave in the middle of the night and, under the, the guise of something else entirely. We can have all these weird things happen, but all of a sudden we get into the playoff talk, and it's like, oh my God, how can we can't allow a G5 into the, you know what I'm saying? It's like the one area that people say they want to budge, and yet they don't want to budge, and it's the one thing they can't seem to all get on the same page over or come to an agreement over, and I'm just tired of hearing about it at this point. I mean, I really am. Okay. This is the greatest sport, and it should not be this difficult.
You're right. It should get, it's one of those things. It's kind of like unions and baseball, whatever. Put whoever's supposed to make decisions in a room. Give them maybe a case of water. Don't even feed them. In fact, take away the water. You're not coming out until you have a decision. And if you don't have a decision, you can starve and also maybe just, I guess, just don't live.
I mean, they're not in danger of anything because, I know we got to
go. It's kind of like the joke I've heard about picking a health plan for the country. If we just locked Congress in the room and said, whatever you pick is what you get too, we'd get great health care.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Dave Aranda, Coach of the Year. Jalen Petrie, Defensive Player of the Year, also was the coach's pick in the Big 12. Other first-teamers, Terrell Bernard, Treston Ebner, Connor Galvin, Siaki Ika, and Petrie, of course, at defensive back. Aiden Hutchinson, late last night, the Lombardi Award winner. He is also on a list for Comeback Player of the Year, along with Baylor's linebacker, Terrell Bernard. And Bryce Young, the AP Player of the Year in college football, overwhelmingly over Aiden Hutchinson, Kenny Pickett, Will Anderson, and C.J. Stroud. Here's a graphic from Eric Mateos, Baylor offensive line coach. This is one of the many websites that have their, at the end of the year, honors. Again, there's players of the year, teams of the year, whatever. Graphic up, the Armstrong, if you have it, please. And Eric Mateos then responded to this tweet about the Baylor offensive line being named the offensive line of the year. We don't have it? All right. It's a picture of, okay, I sent it last night. Eric Mateos put this out there after the graphic was put up by, I think it's like Pro Football Focus, whatever. Real American football, check. Best football in America, check. No knee braces, there it is. Check. Playing offensive line in Waco is the move. Play fast, play with grit, have the most fun together. That is the tweet from Eric Mateos. How about the no knee braces?
Yeah, it's becoming kind of a big thing. Guys are tired of wearing them. They're clunky.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the other parts of his tweet that he showed a guy. The next tweet after that was people walking around with these clunky knee braces. But that's from Mateos. And he's on the road. Last night they were at the Houston Downtown Touchdown Club. Our good friend Mike George sponsored a table with some of the Baylor coaches there and said he had a great time talking with the coaches. Drake London, foregoing his senior year, USC wide receiver. High school football tonight in Texas. They're in the semifinal round. And we'll get into that. We have the game Holly and Marlin, Class 2A, Division I. We have to take a break here. Barry Switzer comes up next. His thoughts about Brent Venables in college football today. Mack Rhoades, Baylor Director of Athletics, also in the 3 o'clock hour, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Supply chain challenges made new cars and trucks hard to find. And the good news is cars and trucks are coming. Richard Carr is receiving deliveries of new cars and trucks each week, so now's the time to contact Richard Carr and get your name on a new Buick, GMC, or Cadillac as they are being shipped. Get on Richard Carr's inbound vehicle list, and you can get your new car or truck as they arrive. You're looking for a pickup, they've got the Sierras. Sierra's got it all, power for a work site, luxury interior, and a drive for the night in the town. And Richard Carr is also home to more SUVs than any other dealer. Richard Carr has 11 SUV models to choose from with dozens of trim options. They are your one-stop shop to find the perfect SUV for your needs, whether it's the fun and nimble Buick Encore, the sophistication and luxury of a Cadillac Escalade. Richard Carr has what you want in an SUV in all sizes and price ranges. And if you need a car or truck today at an affordable price, Richard Carr is also loaded with premium pre-owned cars and trucks. All go through a 172-point inspection before hitting the lot. So if you're here in the greater Waco area, Richard Carr is your local hometown dealership. Give them a chance to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes on new cars and trucks, and superior service after the sale. And they are owned, operated, and run by loyal and proud Baylor Bears. They look forward to seeing their Baylor friends and their new friends outside the Baylor Circle at the dealership or in the stands.
American Bank has been serving Waco since 1952, and we're just getting started. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Over the past few years, we've been busy investing in new technology to give you the best banking experience possible. We've also expanded our downtown branch and built 2 state-of-the-art buildings at our Woodway and Belmead locations. With bright open lobbies, plus fast, personal, interactive teller machines, everyone in Waco is now just minutes away from face-to-face banking. Visit us today and see how we're invested in serving you at American Bank. Member FDIC.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit Marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
The year is wrapping up, sports bettors, but BetUS still has your NBA, NHL, college football bowls, UFC, PGA, and of course NFL betting lines up for their 27th year. Live betting on all of it. Log in to BetUS.com today. Use our promo codes SICK'em125 for 125% bonus on cash, or SICK'em200 if you use crypto. So use the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'em125 and SICK'em200.
Welcome back to Sick'em 365 Radio. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Search 365 Sports on YouTube.
Hall of Fame coach, Super Bowl champion head coach Barry Switzer with us. He was at the National Football Foundation Awards dinner, and he joins us now on Sick'em 365 Radio. Thank you, Barry, as always, Coach, for being a part of the show. What does Brent Venables coming back to Oklahoma mean to the program, and does it stabilize some things that looked like they were a little bit iffy there for a few days?
Well, we're going to find out. I never looked at it that way. I looked at it from a perspective of getting an offensive coach. We were losing an offensive head coach who had a unique talent and ability to recruit quarterbacks because he coaches the quarterbacks, he game plans with the quarterbacks, he calls the plays, spends all his time on the field, off the field with the quarterbacks. That's a tremendous advantage in recruiting the quarterbacks and receivers. And Lincoln had that success in doing that. I didn't see where hiring a defensive coach really helped you, but it did, in other words, didn't have the pop, didn't have the glamour, the pizzazz that you want in your recruiting for offensive players. I think we've changed that. Brent Venables, I've always liked. I knew him when he was here. I think he's very approachable. He's engaging, got a great personality. He's a good football coach. I'm not in any way opposed to him being our head coach. I was just looking at it from the perspective that I looked at it as a coach helping our team going forward in recruiting. Because recruiting is the key, as you know. And but when I heard that, I looked at two programs. I looked at Mike Leach was my guy, and then Lane Kiffin has a lot of baggage, we all know. But Lane doesn't call the plays, but his offense has given Alabama fits the last couple of years, and they do a great job. And I was thrilled to death to find out that the damn guy is from Oklahoma, was here in Oklahoma, and now is probably coming back to be our offensive coordinator. So that changes everything for us. Not only do we have Brent to help the defensive side of the ball, which we needed some help, but we got a good offensive coordinator, one of the tops in the country, to come back and hopefully can recruit quarterbacks and receivers as well as Lincoln did.
This whole coaching cycle has been kind of crazy and unprecedented in the history of college football. Did anyone ever call you up and try to just money whip you to get you to leave Oklahoma? Or was that, seeing as you had one of the best jobs in college football, not something that people did back then?
No, you're going to piss me off. You start talking about things like that. I coached. We were 38-0, hadn't lost a game in 38 games at Oklahoma. And I was making $24,000 a year. My first 3 years, we were 32-1-1, and won 2 national championships back to back, and 2 undefeated seasons. And I made $24,000 a year. And these damn bastards make $8-9 million. I told I ran in Las Vegas. I ran into a U.S. Senator, Tommy Tuberville, who was coached at Auburn, who's coached in the SEC, and I know Tommy. I knew him when he was in high school in Hercules, Arkansas. I told Tommy, I said, all you damn guys are throwing all that damn money away in Washington. Why don't you give reparations to old football coaches? We need it. We deserve it. No, you start talking about that. I missed out on that. I really did. I don't think that my salary, I ever made more than $100,000 a year. And I had to make the job worth $1 million by me going out and creating the talent on my television shows and my radio shows. And I had to do about 4 of each to make that type of money, and which I did, but it was left with me to do it. I can either do it or not do it. It wasn't given to me. So it's different deal, different age, different era. But I'm going to tell you something. Oklahoma had a hell of a lot to do with it because we sued the NCAA in 1981. Went all the way to the Supreme Court. They let us sell our popcorn and Coke in the stands, but they wouldn't let us sell a product that we produced on the field. We won, and that changed the game. All divisions 1, 2, and 3, men and women's sports could negotiate their own contracts by league or school. And you think Notre Dame made some money? They signed a contract individual with NBC, and for 40 years they've had that contract. And how much has that been worth to them?
Yeah.
All because we sued the NCAA at University of Oklahoma.
Coach, what were your thoughts when you heard the Lincoln Riley news? I mean, obviously that heartbreaking loss to Oklahoma State, and then it's just like everybody goes to bed and wakes up the next morning on that Saturday, I guess, and there's Lincoln Riley heading to Los Angeles. What were your thoughts as you saw all that unfold?
About the damn loss than it was him leaving, and I think that it would have helped a lot more if he had won the game and then he left. But I look at a couple of different ways. I don't like the way how he did it, but I don't blame a coach for leaving for a better situation. If it's money wise, it motivates him, that's fine. But it's ironic and somewhat the schools can go to the end of leagues, change leagues, and go to different conferences and do it for money. And that's what Oklahoma's doing. They're going to leave him for $22 million. So why in the hell aren't we upset with Joe Castiglione? He went and took the money and left the Big 12. Maybe the Big 12 is upset with him. But you can't criticize a coach for trying to go improve himself financially in his family. You got a short one in this game anyway. So I look at it a little bit differently than the rest of them.
Well, and Barry, Oklahoma has a history of coaches of not being fired. As far as I know that your situation late in the 80s when all that went down, I'm talking about somebody who basically was asked to leave because of another opportunity. What about the way coaching, the carousel early in the year, mid-year, National Signing Day now in December? Have you thought about anything of how you would fix it?
Well, damn sure wouldn't want the signing date as early as this. That's with this portal we have now, it's tragic. We can lose a lot of players here before even signing date. We don't have a chance to get around to see them, the new coach, to visit with them all. It puts them in a tremendous disadvantage. I resigned in '88. Now I've won 9 games my last year here. I didn't get fired for losing, I promise you. And I didn't get fired at all. I resigned to help the program. It's the right thing to do. We had so much negative publicity nationally and all. And hell, I was tired, worn out of it. We've been successful, won 4 straight Big 8 conference championships, and won a national in '85. So, Oklahoma was in pretty good shape when I left. And the '90s went to hell. And then they got Stoops back in here at the start of 2000, and he was able to bring it back. But it suffered a while. But anyway, I had a good run, and I'm glad it went the way it did. And then I ended up with the Cowboys. Hell, I won a Super Bowl with Jerry. So it all worked out. What about Bob Stoops stepping in when they needed somebody to kind of calm the waters a little bit, and what he did to say, I'll take care of this between now and the bowl game? Well, I think any head coach lived and stayed around here and just left here the 1 second would have done the same thing if asked by Joe Castiglione, and which was the right thing to do. They're all gone, so they brought him in, and he's going to do it, and we'll do a good job. And I think that obviously the new coach will be here, and he'll be involved somewhat, and hopefully the offensive coordinator will be here to be a part of the ball game. I think Cale Gundy, who's present, offensive coach, he's a backfield coach, receiver coach. He'll probably be calling the plays, but I think the others will get involved. Barry, the conference, everything's changing in college football with all the stuff that's going on. NIL, transfer portal, the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma. I know you're not in the game, but my God, you're always going to be a part of the game. Our chat room's going nuts with you on the show. Love it that you're on a part of our show, and we appreciate it. Is it almost too much right now going on at one time? No, I don't mind. We go to fast pace this time of the year, and I want to congratulate Baylor Bears on their outstanding season. I watched them, and they deserve their win, both over Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. After beating us, I'm damn glad they beat Oklahoma State, so it makes me feel a little bit better. But they've done a great job, and their quarterback, that damn. I can't believe that guy played linebacker and they moved him to a damn tailback, and he ended up being they did a poor evaluation of talent down there. Let me tell you, let a guy like that play 1 year at running back and have the speed, quickness, the power he has. But anyway, is Bohannon okay? Has he got another year? Yeah, he has options to come back, and of course they've had a break now with the bowl not being for another couple of weeks, and so they'll continue treatment with him as well. Well, I'm going to tell you, the guy that backed him up did a hell of a job. He really did. He was outstanding, and of course he was outstanding too. And I was impressed how they played this year. So they're definitely in the Big 12. They're definitely a team that you have to contend with.
How about that goal? Go ahead. Sorry.
I coached my first game against Baylor, 1973. My first game as a head coach was in Waco versus Baylor.
Grant Taft, yeah. What a job he did. Craig?
Coach, you mentioned the game. I was just curious your thoughts on the ending there with that goal line stand, Oklahoma State having, 4 opportunities to try and punch it in, and Baylor getting a play right there, 2 inches short of the goal line to basically win the game. Just your thoughts on that drama and that finish.
Well, that's what it is. It's a game of inches, and our play. The team makes the fewest mistakes usually wins ball games, and people don't realize how big plays kicking games are. And I look at our game with them, and there are 2 plays in the kicking game that killed us. We win the ball game if we don't. If we win those 2 plays in the kicking game, we would have won the ball game, but we didn't. And so we fumble at the 4-yard line, the punt, and we let a damn guy run a kickoff back on us. So that was the difference.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate it as always. You give us great access, and we appreciate it when you do. Thank you.
You bet. Take care, guys.
Barry Switzer, Oklahoma Hall of Fame coach.
Gosh darn national treasures. What
he is. In the chat room, all of you Oklahoma fans or not, you loved his truth serum, and we appreciate his time, his schedule. Obviously, he's been out maybe a half a dozen times since we started this show back in April.
Yeah, and you just wish that you could take all those times and add up that time and just have that chunk of time. Because honestly, when you talk to him, you just feel like you always want more. Honestly, whether it's 10 minutes or 30 minutes, you want, if you got 30 minutes, you want 35. If you got 10, you want 15. Because there's so many avenues you can go down with him and explore and all of that. So. Yeah, he's the king, man. That's the king right there. And, still loves Oklahoma a great deal, obviously. Still around and, just a legend, absolute legend. Always fun to talk to him.
All right, when we come back, Mack Rhoades was at Big 12 media, ADs and meetings in Vegas, that's where the National Football Foundation had their, and that's where Barry Switzer just came back, the Hall of Fame induction. Bob Stoops was a part of that, among some others as well. He'll join us next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Pickup Outfitters, Jay Eric, the owner, 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco. Christmas gifts that are unique for someone to outfit their truck, SUV, or van. You can do that. Pickup Outfitters with bumpers and grill guards. Also, if you have a pickup truck and there's not a cover, they have the bed covers, and they can, of course, not only give you the options of what you want to buy for your car or truck, or someone else's, they could also install it for you. Pickup Outfitters at 220 Lake Air Drive also can give you bump steps and just kind of decorate what you have when it comes to your truck, SUV, or even minivan. Pickup Outfitters with a lifetime, they'll help you with warranties, but if you buy the product and install the product at their place, it will come with a lifetime installation guarantee. Pickup Outfitters, great unique Christmas gifts at 220 Lake Air Drive and createacommotion.com.
The all-new 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L is in stock. The beautiful, luxurious, elegant third-row seating carries the prestigious Jeep heritage. First responders get an extra $500. The 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo or Limited has total values of $2,400 or 0% for 72 months. It's the Big Finish sales event now at Allen Samuels, 201 West Loop 340 in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country-style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from select, choice, or prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strips, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
If you happened to miss yesterday's segment with former Baylor football coach Jim Grove, there was a part of that interview when we asked him a question about Mack Rhoades, and we're going to play that here, not right now, but we will at some point. Coach Grove and what he said about Mack, and I don't think Mack's heard it, but we'll have it for Mack, who joins us now live on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. So you go win a Big 12 championship, and then you spend time in Vegas. Was that was a trip, though? It was a business trip, but it seemed like things are fast and furious in college football still to this day, Mack.
They are. So was in Vegas for the National Football Foundation dinner, award ceremony, Hall of Fame, and then also Big 12 meetings. So it's been a fast and furious couple of days, and I'm in my office watching our volleyball team compete against Minnesota, and we're now up 2-1.
Oh, that's right. They won the first set, dropped set 2, and now up 2-1 as well. Now, the constant revolving door of the coaching carousel, which we've discussed with you before. Every time there's an opening, it just seems like your head coach, Dave Arand, is involved. You have addressed this many, many times. There was a report earlier this week from somebody that suggested that Oregon should contact your head coach. What are your thoughts about something like that?
I've got mixed thoughts on it. I think that, one, it says a lot about, our program and the job that he's done, the job that the staff has done. And it certainly is a reflection of our young men and just the success, the hard work, all of those things. So, you don't get mentioned unless, all of those things are happening, operating at a high level. You're winning games, right? And you're winning championships. I get tired though of national media suggesting that another school should come after Coach Aranda or any of our coaches, and I think where I get frustrated is, and I'm not going to back down from this. Baylor is every bit as good at a football job as anywhere else in this country, and we can win a national championship here. And so to infer that, particularly this most recent article that that other school might be a better job, completely disagree, and that's where that's where I get frustrated, and I certainly had a conversation with that particular writer.
Yeah, Mack, I would think that you don't have to go too far back in the history book to tell them how well you're doing and everything right now. It's as far back as April. I mean, you can just say, hey, these things are going on at this athletic department. So it's not like you have to concoct some kind of theory on how it can work.
Well, and, I go back to, we've played in 2 of the last 3 Big 12 championship games. And one didn't go our way. And most recently, this one did. And I think that speaks well, not to just, the head coaches, the staff, and student athletes, but the ability for us to win in football here, at Baylor in Waco, Texas. And, so again, I think there's a little bit of flattery with it, but you also get a little bit tired of it as well.
Well, Mack, let's talk about what happened on Saturday. I mean, a Big 12 championship. I mean, in the most dramatic way possible. I mean, here your team is. They get the opportunity, and, they could have just flailed after the TCU game, but instead they kept their heads down, got a little bit of help, and got in the game. And you've been there before, got there 2 years ago, fell short against Oklahoma, but now this opportunity to go in, to win, to grab that trophy, and to do it in the fashion that they did it with the goal line stand at the end. Just your thoughts on the season. And I mean, you've talked so much about this, and you've talked so much about your positivity towards the program and your expectations, and for them to go out there and do it that way. Just what was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could win in any more dramatic fashion, right? The game of inches, and I'm sitting there down in the corner, and quite frankly, I thought the running back had the angle, and for Jeremy McVay to just make that play, and it's even more special when you know who he is as a young man and as a student athlete, and again, I think that entire game, the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, the hardships we had in the second half, Blake playing with a bad shoulder, all of those things, and for us to continue to fight back and just stay calm and persevere. And so, I think that game was really a reflection of the entire season and how we navigated it. And, for that play, and then to watch Coach Aranda's facial expression, that's indicative. That's just an illustration of how he handled the entire year and how he handles the ups and the downs and keeps focused on what's really important. And our players, our student athletes, take that on. And so it was really, really, I thought a special day for us. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I thought it was a special day for the Big 12 to have 67,700, and I think it was 777, the second largest crowd in the history of the Big 12 championship game, right? For our TV ratings to be, for that game, double what both the Pac-12 and the ACC were. It just speaks well for the Big 12, and you know, the two quote unquote brand names not in the game. And so again, just really proud of the Big 12. I thought it was a great day for our conference.
Another thing I want to bring up, and it came out I think earlier today, that the graduation rate for Baylor is tied a school record of 94 in the graduate success rate. It's more than just the money. I know that's a big deal, and everyone focuses it on that, realignment, expansion, etc. But what about that? That's a stat that not many people pay attention to. I know you do.
Yeah, I mean, we do, and it's one of our pillars, and you all know that. I really do appreciate you bringing that up, because we've got our 4 pillars: athletic success, academic achievement, character formation, spiritual growth, and no one pillar is more important than the other. We expect and we demand that we're going to be elite in all 4, and we're not going to compromise one for the other. And I think, you know, the graduation success rate, you know, the best all time in Baylor history of 94, and again leading the Big 12 for the 7th straight year. That's something that we're proud of. It's something that we strive to be really good at, and because it's not 100, guess what? We can get better, and that's the goal. We're going to continue to try to get better.
Mack, the college football playoff expansion discussions continue on. Bob Bowlesby said something I thought was pretty admirable yesterday, in that, you know, there's a debate about automatic P5 qualifiers, and he said, well, that's probably best for the Big 12. It's not best for the sport of the whole. I think that's kind of refreshing, in that, you know, the good of the one outweighed the good of the many, and the Big 12 conference almost completely collapsed. How do you feel about that going forward, about all those things going on, and maybe a look at, let's do what's best for college football as a whole, and not what's best for A institution, B institution, or A conference, B conference?
Yeah, you know, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And, you know, I do think we're going to get there to 12. And I think if there wouldn't have been the, you know, maybe change in commissioners, we probably would have already gotten there. And it's understandable when you think about 2 new commissioners, you know, in the Power 5, you know, both Pac-12 and ACC, and then, you know, another Power 5 commissioner in Big 10 that, you know, had really just 1 year into it. And so almost, you know, having to now with the newness, with those 2, you know, just beginning to kind of retrace steps and rethink everything. So I get it. I, you know, certainly understand. And again, I believe we're going to get to the 12. I think the biggest debate is, you know, that idea of a Power 5 automatic qualifier versus, you know, potentially the 6 highest rated conference champions. And again, I think there's a duty to look beyond just, you know, your particular situation and what's best for college football moving forward. And so I appreciate that about Commissioner Bowlesby. And, you know, I think they'll get to a place where they, you know, can agree on, you know, what is best for college football. And, you know, I don't know, you know, to be really clear, if one is better than the other, just because I'm not, you know, in that space, but, you know, I think they both can work. They both can be really good. And, you know, I'll probably, you know, would think that maybe the 6, you know, highest ranked, you know, conference champions is probably the best pathway for everyone. But again, remains to be seen.
Do you think that a school openly saying that they will give $50,000 to a specific position under the guise of charity is good for college football?
Yeah, you know, I figured that question was gonna come up, and you know, it's just interesting on how, again, we're taking name, image, and likeness, and you know, really, you know, pushing it to the limit and not really, I think, what it was intended for. And I think where where I struggle, and I don't know the folks behind the Horns with Heart charity organization, but I, again, just being candid, I struggle that this wasn't done for recruiting advantage, recruiting purposes, that this is just a byproduct of it. And so that's, let's call it what it is. And it's absolutely to garner a recruiting advantage. And so, look, this is where this is headed. The genie's out of the bottle. I don't know how we're going to get it back in. We're certainly comfortable with the way we're handling name, image, and likeness. I think we're gonna sign a great class, and and again, full disclosure, we'll adjust and tweak in order to be relevant and stay relevant and compete at the highest level. But we're not going to compromise our beliefs and our culture and the way we do things.
Mack, with how things are changing, you've brought this up before. You have Vince Ginta, who runs the personnel, so to speak, for Coach Aranda and football. And then Dennis Polian is there for him every day as well. But have you ever thought of, and is there kind of a spot or a role for somebody who can almost be a football program general manager, so to speak, or is that something you really already have?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've talked about that particular role, and I think that Dennis Polian really, as chief of staff for football is serving in that role, and really, his oversight of staff, other than the coaches, 1 through 10, and then also the recruiting area. I think it's become, more complicated with the transfer portal, and this idea of not just a general manager, but somebody really that's attentive to player personnel and, the changing pieces and parts and just with roster. And so I think we're in a good space and a good place in the way we're managing it, handling it. I think that Coach Aranda feels really, really good about it. But, you speak about something that we're always going to have to be, I think, one step ahead and always continually evolving. And that's the process we're in currently.
Matt, going back to the playoff for a second, your thoughts on future Big 12 member Cincinnati getting a spot there in the Final Four?
Yeah, well-deserved. Really, really happy for them. And, I don't think it was given to them. I think they earned it. And, and I think it's going to be a pretty compelling matchup against Alabama. I think, one of the things that can be real interesting is just the time that you have to prepare and maybe throw in some added wrinkles that each opponent maybe hasn't seen on tape. And so, I think, obviously Coach Saban does a great job, but I also think Coach Bickle does. And I think it's going to be a really exciting matchup.
Mack Rhoades with us, Director of Athletics at Baylor on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Mack, I know you got to go in just a second, so I want to go back to the game again because that ending was just so ridiculous. What was that like afterwards? And I know there's probably personal moments that you don't want to share, and that's totally understandable, but what was it like to just see Dave Aranda and the staff and the players after the game, the celebration, the talks afterward? I mean, just as somebody who's seen the ups and downs of the Jalen Petries and even Aranda last year, to see that happiness on their face and that celebration, I mean, how much did that mean to you, and what was that like?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, and I could probably talk about it for 30 minutes just on that particular question. But I think a couple things quickly come to mind. One, I I love college football. I love what it can be about, what it should be about. And one of the first things that came to mind is I'm so happy for Coach Aranda, and I'm so happy for college football, because college football needs somebody like a Coach Aranda to win at a high level. And you all get a flavor of it, every post game. And I thought it was no different in terms of post game after winning the championship, and just the things he said, and when he talked about McVay and others, and just again, always coming back to the importance of people and just perspective. And so that was one. And then, to see people like Jalen Petrie and Terrell Bernard and others, the hugs, and, those young men that have been through a lot, and to see them finish on top, man, that is so special, and so happy for all of them. And again, just happy for our fans. It's been a long time since we won a Big 12 championship, and to be able to do that again. And you think about the road, the last, 5 years, that journey, and just happy again for all of our fans and for our university.
One thing about contracts, and this is about your staff, Dave Aranda's staff. Obviously, he loves it here. He said everything, he said everything about what he loves about Baylor. You've mentioned your talks with him as well. His staff has remained intact. I know there's been some bottom, not lower level, I guess you could say, some non-assistant coaches who have moved on because of Texas Tech. How valuable is that staff to keep them intact and also maybe take care of them as well?
Yeah, it's really important. It's really important to Coach Aranda. It's really important to me. And, obviously we've had some other institutions reach out to our position coaches, 1 through 10, right? And we've been able to keep them intact. And, I suspect there's still some movement, coaching staffs, our head coaches, hiring staff, and, we'll continue to mitigate that and work through that. But right now, we've been able to retain everyone, and, going through the process of rewarding our coaches. And so right now we're in a really, really good place.
Thank you, Mac. Appreciate your time. Go watch volleyball. I know you have been, but they're up in the fourth set too.
Yes, we are. Let's 14-11. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Mack Rhoades, Baylor Director of Athletics, with us on Tuesdays. Normally, this week Thursday, because he was at Big 12 meetings in Las Vegas. Did you a couple of things he said? People have made runs to the staff, and they will continue to because of coaching changes, but they've been able to take care of them, and that's kind of something where you get focused on the head coach so much. And I was going to bring this up with him, but I know he would not answer about Mack Rhoades himself. He's very happy where he is. I know that there have been AD jobs open as well, and he would not even want to go there about how he's taken care of.
Well, 2 of them got filled in the last 2 days.
Florida State today,
and Miami. And then now Louisville's open, not because the guy went to Florida State, because he used Florida State to get his 30-day clause knocked out, and then he's going back into private. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. Louisville's a mess. The president left. It's a mess at Louisville.
I think it's important what he said about the assistant coaches and staff, because I do know how much that means to any coach, and the fact that they had turnover last year, that was something that was positive because of how quickly and emphatically Dave Aranda made decisions on his offensive staff, but also there were some changes with the defensive staff as well, and to keep them intact. And there have been people that have made runs at some of them, whether it's quarterbacks coach Sean Bell or perhaps others that are on that staff as well. All right, the 4 o'clock hour coming up in just a minute. We had Max Olson scheduled, theathletic.com. He's under the weather. So now that is a chance. There's a chance for us to hear from you at 254-339-1122, the text line, and also the chat room. David Smoak with Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, Sikkim 365 Radio, and 365 Sports.
If you are looking for a new home or trying to sell the one you're in, you need to call my friend Lance Donaldson of the Donaldson Family Team, brokered by eXp Realty, at 254-214-3713. Lance is going to get you taken care of. And look, it's a seller's market right now, which means you need a realtor to help you to get people in your house so you can get that great deal, and to help you make sure that you make the best choice for the money that you just made on that house you sold. Lance can do that for you. LanceDonaldson.exprealty.com, or give him a call, 254-214-3713. You're going to love spending time with Lance. You're going to love looking at houses with Lance. He's going to make the process really easy, because it can be stressful, but also can be some of the most fun things you do ever, is looking for a new home, that dream home for you and your family. Lance Donaldson, eXp Realty, 254-214-3713.
When it comes to me and my money, I know the way it should be. I need a partner I can count on. That's Genco and me.
Genco has extended their offer till the end of the year. Refinance your vehicle today at Genco with rates as low as 1.69% for 48 months. And have 90 days of no payments. Refinancing can lower your payment, so you pay less for your car. Apply online and get an additional 0.1% off our already low rate. You can't pass on rates this low and make no payments for 90 days. For more information, go to GencoFCU.org.
Annual percentage rate subject to change without notice, subject to credit approval, membership eligibility, and loan policies. NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
They're people I trust. They treat me like family. My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Hey there, it's Jay from Pickup Outfitters with a holiday public service announcement for all the wives and significant others out there looking for Christmas gift ideas for their man. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. At Pickup Outfitters, we say the way to a man's heart is through his truck. And there's no better Christmas gift for the man in your life than something for his truck. Would your man rather have a new bathrobe or bumper or a cool light bar, socks or a lift kit, a new wallet or new running boards? The answer seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Pickup Outfitters is your Christmas gift headquarters. Why get your man a hoodie when you can get him a slick new retractable bed cover? So don't waste money on a meat thermometer or sweatpants when you can get him a gift certificate for anything he wants for his truck. That's the way to get to a man's heart. Stop by Pickup Outfitters at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or check us out on the web at createacommotion.com.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
At long last, it's time for some college football. Bird Collision Ford proudly supports the Baylor Bears as they take the field this season. Hi, I'm Mark Stewart with Bird Collision Ford. We have some great vehicles available this season as well, so come check out our winning lineup of new Fords. Let's cheer the Bears on to victory and celebrate by buying a new or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV. Visit us anytime at bkford.com. Buying made simple at BK Ford. Sick 'em Bears.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Motion and a fake, and he's hit as he throws, and it's intercepted. Jaron McVay had it fall right in his hands. It was Braden Utley who delivered the hit on Sanders, who's thrown his third pick of the day.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, that Baylor women's volleyball in the Sweet 16 against Minnesota up 2-1. And the last I looked, Jack, was at 18-17 Minnesota on a review call. So Minnesota trying to force a fifth set. Man, there's some good teams that play volleyball at an elite level. Wisconsin's a part of that same region where Baylor is, along with Minnesota as well. All right, 254-339-1122. The lines are open for the next 10 to 12, 15 minutes. Your thoughts as we move into... Think about this. There's Army-Navy this weekend. The FCS championship tournament. There is the Division III and all the others in college football. Of course, there's not one when it comes to FBS because they can't figure it out, but there are semifinal games. How about a weekend where there's not really much college football after the weekends we've seen throughout most of this year? Is it kind of a depression time?
I mean, sort of, but it's also been 4 straight months of, something every single weekend. So I think from our perspective, we might answer a little bit differently than people who just, watch and go to games. I, for one, am looking forward to an open weekend. I mean, last week was busy in the best kind of way. But, yeah, I'm kind of ready for a little bit of a breather before, going straight into signing day and bowl prep and all of that. But, Army-Navy will be great to have, and then we'll have NFL and all of that. But, yeah, I mean, I'm going to miss, I hate that I'm going to have an open weekend and then, I can't plop down at noon and just turn on a random college football game. I'm kind of bummed about that there won't be just games on all day to watch, sure. But it's kind of nice to be at this point, though, where we've got some clarity and we know matchups and we know the lay of the playoff. And, now it's just a matter of who finishes their seasons off on a high note and who, kind of limps into the offseason. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer just because of, we've gotten so used to it. It's been 16 weeks in a row of full-blown college football. So, yeah, it's a little bit of both.
I've never felt, even before I did this, I'm never sad when the season's over. I'm happy when it starts. I'm fine when it ends. I think it's all cyclical. The reason that I look forward to it so much is because I've gotten a chance to miss it. So I'm not one of these people that oh my God, there's no game. Like once the Super Bowl's over, what am I going to do?
I think if I was just a fan and my team was consistently good for years, that was the case. But I think when you work it and you're in the middle of it, we're not playing, we're not coaching, we're not in the administration of it. But when we work it, it is at times it can be a grind. It's a good grind because it means that we're watching and we got things to bring to you as well. But there is a part of me that enjoys when it does move on is straight into what then will be the stretch drive of the NFL. And then at some point, eventually, there may not be a baseball season to maybe give me something during the spring and the summer, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and with college football now anyways, it's not like the news cycle stops. I mean, I'm looking now, there's 9 guys alone today that have entered the transfer portal, and there's 30-something that entered yesterday. I mean, this thing is so ridiculous. I mean, it really is, this transfer portal tracker. But, you've got that. Obviously, here in the state of Texas, Baylor's not involved because they have their quarterbacks. But, the Quinn Ewers storyline, where he ends up, whether it's Lubbock, Fort Worth, or Austin, he's visiting UT this weekend. That's probably where I'd put my money. Some charity cause for $5 million called Horns for Quarterbacks or something. But that's obviously wherever he lands is going to be a big shift in the Big 12 on paper. And, then there's signing day, 2 of them, and there's bowl games, and there's, coaching changes, and so it's not like even without games there's going to be a lack of any news. And quite frankly, I think that this season, more so than probably any other season in college football history, and this is both good and bad, it's good that there's constant news. And, the NFL has found a way to become like the 24/7, 365 days of the year. There's some NFL news, even if it's like the dead of the offseason, there's something going on in the NFL. And college football has kind of turned into that in a way as well, which is great because there's always news. But there does need to be a little bit of a lull to kind of build back up towards, the following season. And I like having the spring ball break and, kind of seeing the early seeds being planted and things like that. I do think at the same time there's a little bit too much news. I don't think you want it to become the NBA, where, quite frankly, I think people are more interested in the off the court than the on the court. And it's all about, these contract situations or who LeBron wants to trade for now or, what coach is on his way out. And so I don't know that that's always a good thing, but yeah.
I think the NFL set that tone with all the deflate gate and all this gate and bounty gate and all that. It became, along with what they do every month, there's something big. Let's go to the calls. We got a bunch of them to get to. 254-339-1122.
All right. Jeff in Mexico. Thanks for your call.
Hey, roll tide, guys.
Hey,
roll
Jeff.
Tide.
Hey, I was calling about the playoff expansion. One of the biggest problems I have with expansion is the SEC gets 2 teams in a 4-team playoff. So they want to move it to 12 teams, but they want to have all these automatic qualifiers. Well, that's not going to get SEC any more teams, so why would the SEC be okay with expanding?
Well, I think the SEC's sights are on getting 3 and 4 in it.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they have,
there's 8 more spots, even though some of them will be qualifiers based on conference games. You would hope championship games, but I think that they look at this as we can get 2, and they think at the top heavy as good as anybody, better than anybody. Although the Big Ten this year was really good top heavy, but I think that they're looking at it more as that we can get 2, man. Now we can get 3 or 4. And still have about 25 or 30 or 40% of it.
Yeah, I think they're fine either way. I think they're fine if it stays pat and they continue to have probably half the field as they do this year. And I think they're fine if it expands because I think they're in really a no-lose situation, honestly. I mean, you're either going to continue to be the conference that has the best chance of getting 2 out of the 4 because you can have a team get embarrassed in their conference championship game, but they were so good before that it doesn't even matter and they still get in the playoff regardless. So, the 14 playoff is certainly not hurting the SEC in any way. So, yeah, you add more teams and you know what the SEC representation would look like in a 12-team playoff this year? Ole Miss would be in the playoff. Mm-hmm. So Ole Miss, that would give them 3 teams. They'd have a quarter of the field. So, yeah, I mean, that's why I don't think the SEC cares too much about either way.
You don't spend 20 years brainwashing
right.
the powers that be that you're better than everyone else and not have that
we
payoff
want
and
more people
whatever
to be
happens.
in without us. If it was 12 this year, imagine, and that we don't have time for that right now, but imagine who opened the door for that. It would be Ohio State. It would be Baylor. It might still be Oklahoma State. It could be Ole Miss. And it even could be another Big Ten team or 2.
Well, if it was a 12-team playoff this year, you'd have Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss out of the SEC, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State. So 3 teams for the Big
6.
Ten. Baylor, Oklahoma State. 2 for the Big 12.
Cincinnati.
Cincy. Pittsburgh out of the ACC. Notre Dame is an Indy. And you'd have Utah out of the pack.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But we don't want to see that. We don't want to see red-hot Utah or Baylor's defense or Kenny Pickett against some of these great defense. We don't want that. Why would we want? Those teams have no chance. We don't want that. Stupid. So stupid.
It makes sense. It's so stupid.
Dumb.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's go.
Yeah, the NFL wants more games. College football somehow wants less.
We asked for the calls.
The
let's
most
get to
successful league in the world wants more playoff games. We're sitting here going, no, you can't water it down. So stupid.
Yeah. All right, Brett in Provo.
There you go.
You're on the Bet US caller line. Thanks for your call.
Hey guys, I've been watching your show for a while. It's nice to get on the caller line finally.
Good.
I'm down here right by BYU. Hopefully we can keep Kalani here. Oregon's making all of our lives a little bit stressful right now, but I just wanted to call about the coaching carousel and the football playoff, and I just have a little theory. You guys might have talked about it before, but I think that the coaching carousel is happening right now where coaches are getting paid like $10 million, $8 million a year because you have USC, LSU, all these blue blood schools are looking at like, hey, we get the right guy who can recruit the right way and can build a good team. We can get into the college football playoff every single year. And so I think that's why there's a big push to just pay coaches an insane amount of money because it's like an investment for them.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, that was it.
Right. Okay, appreciate the phone call. Yeah, I mean, I think it's do or die now for a lot of programs, and I think some of the ones that you're seeing are, like Miami's in a desperation position, right? I mean, they're looking at it and going, okay, we got to make a move here. We're getting a little stale. We got to make the big splash, and so kudos to Miami for doing that. USC, they said, screw going and just getting like Matt Campbell. We're going to go and just shock the world and go get Lincoln Riley. So yeah, Miami and OU just is two examples. I mean, really swinging large. I mean, LSU going and getting Brian Kelly from Notre Dame, I mean, that's a huge, big stick move. And, I think everybody kind of sees the writing on the wall and how important it is to get into this playoff. And, really with the floodgates opened up thanks to name, image, likeness, there's no holding back a lot of what was going on anyways. And now you can just do it on the surface and under the guise of charity or name, image, likeness or what have you. And you can go all out. And so I think you're seeing the programs that typically would go all out in front of and behind the scenes just fully, take the mask off and let's just call it what it is. And they're going full bore. So, yeah, I mean, it's been very interesting to see, everybody swinging for the fences, swinging huge. And I think, you kind of have to point to USC too and say once they made that Lincoln Riley move, that made everybody else go, whoa, wait a second. Like that's how, that's what it's turning into. And, subsequently there's LSU and Brian Kelly and so on. So, yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting how all in a lot of programs are right now.
Back to the calls, 254-339-1122. Thanks for your calls today, buddy.
Chris in Missouri, you are on the Bet US caller line.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How you doing?
Doing well, Chris.
Hey, my question today is for Kenny Pickett. I know he probably won't win the Heisman because Alabama's quarterback is getting so much love, but where would you guys rate him? Would you say he's the second best, third best player? I'm just curious where you guys see him. Thanks.
I can't discuss this because I have a vote, and I would then reveal my vote, so I have to recuse myself.
I would rate him actually my fourth on the ballot. So if I had a vote, I honestly would vote for Aiden Hutchinson, then Bryce Young, then C.J. Stroud, and then Kenny Pickett. But I put him fourth. I mean, and that's not really a knock on him. It's just you got to rank him somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm upset the apple cart guy, so I go Aiden Hutchinson as well to win the Heisman Trophy. But I think you could pick, any of these four guys and make a valid case. Man, I would love to give you a great answer, but looking at it, I'd probably have to put him fourth too. Yeah, I think I probably would. I mean, what Bryce Young did against Georgia and just the year that he turned out to have, I think that kind of put him over the top, and I think it certainly seemed to put him over the top for the voters just based on kind of reading the tea leaves, it was kind of like that was the game that sort of cemented it for him. I think Kenny Pickett's fantastic. I think he's a really fun player to watch. I've enjoyed watching the Panthers and what he's been able to do all year long, and obviously got a great receiver and a lot of other good players too. But, of that field, I'd probably put him fourth, just, sitting here right now and thinking about it.
One of the names that did not make the trip to New York that other than Will Anderson Jr. that has been brought up is also Kenneth Walker III. He did have the game when Michigan State was smoked by Ohio State, and there's been a lot of discussion with that. But, why they couldn't have added another name or two, I don't know. But I can't discuss what your question is. I'm glad Craig and Paul could because it would give away my votes, and so I'd rather not.
They've definitely had 5 finalists there before.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, I don't know why that they
only
decided.
When Tebow was the one. Yeah. They had to make sure Tim Tebow could walk all the way across the Hudson River to get to the ceremony.
I'll say this. I mean, I don't think that you were necessarily asking for us to, like, butter up, the team that you root for and the player that you'd like to see it, and you'd want an honest opinion. But just the fact that Kenny Pickett is in New York and is going to be a Heisman finalist, I think that's pretty freaking cool. That's pretty awesome. And, you'd love to see him win it, obviously. And When was the last Pitt Heisman? Would it have been Dorsett?
Yeah, because Marino didn't win it.
Hugh Green was a finalist, didn't win it. Marino didn't win it. It would be Tony Dorsett. And I could be wrong, and we've got some Pitt fans because they and West Virginia fans in the chat room hate each other.
Should have won it.
Fitzgerald, but I think is Dorsett the only Pittsburgh Panther? Maybe there's one some way in the years from behind. But Dorsett was like, he was, man, what an unbelievable player. I remember there's a story. I was in Japan. I pick up the paper the next day, and they had beaten, I think it was Notre Dame. And Dorsett's name comes popping through in college football. What a star he was.
Yeah, but it's just cool to see that, he's in the mix, and that's great, man. That's great exposure for Pitt as a football program, is to have him there, have them talking about his story and all of that. But, yeah, Dorsett in 1976 was their Heisman winner. Had nearly 2,000 yards that season. So, yeah, would be cool to see him join that, but I'm banking on Bryce Young.
All right, let's go to Owen in Virginia. Thanks for your call.
Hey, guys, just real quick, touching on Kenny Pickett. As a West Virginia fan, I'm very glad to see him gone. So, but touching on West Virginia basketball last night, Huggy Bear up there in Morgantown got a big win against number 15 UConn. And I just want to know, I think 948 wins, I do believe, is the second most wins for a college basketball coach. I'm not 100% sure, but do you think Bob Huggins could get there, and do you think he could be very close to Coach K? Thanks, guys.
Let's see. Coach K has 1,170 wins. Boeheim.
Actually, 1,177.
Because he's won 7 this year. Boeheim's at 982. And then Calhoun, he's gone past Calhoun.
No, I think you might be looking at an older list because Boeheim's past 1,000 at this point.
Okay.
The one I've got in front of me.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
The one I've got in front of me, you got Coach K at 1,177, Boeheim 1,088, and then those are the only two in the 1,000-plus club. There's Roy Williams, Bob Knight, Dean Smith, Jim Calhoun, Adolph Rupp, and then Bob Huggins. Bob Huggins so here's his question, right? Can he get to Coach K? He's at 836, Bob Huggins is right now, and Coach K is at 1177. So still need about 300 more wins.
That'd be 10 years and 30 wins a year. That's probably going to be tough to get to. Huggins is not he's not old.
No.
He's got a lot of life left in him. And some of these numbers, by the way, have wins that have been vacated as well.
He's 68.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a little bit old.
Yeah,
He seems to me
and
to be
he's had
so
some
much
health issues too over the years. But yeah, I'd say doubtful. That's a lot of games to have to win. But I mean, shoot, he's top 10 all time. He's number 8, top 8 all time, past Eddie Sutton by a good margin now. He's only 40 away from passing Adolph Rupp, which is pretty crazy. So he's definitely going to see that. But yeah, man, that 1177 that Coach K's got, that's going to be, to be honest with you, that's going to be really tough to pull off.
Actually, he's over 900 because of 908, so he's passed a few of those as well.
Well, geez, we can't find an updated list anywhere.
I'm super excited about 908 wins. It's really
no. This is it. This he was at 904. He's now at 908. He's passed Roy Williams, passed Bob Knight, Dean Smith, Adolph Rupp.
So he already passed. So what am I talking? I thought I had the updated list, but supposedly not.
He's still 200 away.
Okay, 200.
275 away. It's going to.
I'm going to say 275 away. That's no, he's not going to pass.
I'm 68 years old. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Back to the calls. 254-339-1122. We'll get Cowboys information from Mickey at 4:30.
I think I might have just hung up on Josh in Washington. I'm sorry, Josh.
Hey, you guys.
Thank you. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Thank you.
Catman, Two Smokes. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Hey, to the answer to the guy 2 things ago. I mean, the first time that I heard that Oklahoma was going to the SEC was because of the playoff, and you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to stack 4, 5, 6 every year. That's a given. I mean, but that's not the whole reason why I called. I want to congratulate Baylor. Being a damn good football team, man. And who cares about the Cowgirls? They'll have another year. But through all this coaching carousel deal, I'm just so thankful. I called you guys and said I was a lark flying high in the sky. I have morphed into an eagle. And I am just right on the target, man, because what's happening to our program, and the football gods have come down and says, here you go. this is what you need. This is going to prepare you. I can't believe what's going on. And if you guys think that Oklahoma's not going to have players come August, okay, sell me some, oceanfront property in Oklahoma. But my question is, the transfer portal thing that Craig and everybody's talking about, would you guys keep it the same? Or would you change it? And if you did change it, how would you go about doing it? Go Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. God bless you guys, and I got some barbecue sauce coming for you.
Oh, my God. We love you even more. Thank you very much. And I do think Oklahoma will recover. It's going to be tough to recover from some of they've lost as far as incoming recruits, but it's Oklahoma. They've had 1 decade of bad in the 90s because they had bad coaches. And they also, in between Switzer and Stoops, it happens to everybody.
I think the one-time transfer rule, they intended to, at least keep the litigation down, because that's what was going on with the NCAA is they kept getting sued and losing on transfers. And so they said, okay, we'll just do a one-time transfer rule. Well, I don't think it was an unintended consequence for college football and college sports. You get the one-time transfer rule. But what I don't think people were really ready for was the fact that you have a generation of players that if they don't play as a freshman, they jump in the portal. And that's not been college football forever. I mean, if there was a time where if you had to play a freshman, you had to be Herschel freaking Walker. I mean, you had to be Bo Jackson. You had to be that good, Adrian Peterson, that kind of player. And now there's this expectation that you play as a freshman, you get in the portal. I don't know if there's anything that can be done other than changing people's expectations about what's realistic in their life, and players not being in there to be in the portal and maybe get re-recruited.
How much do you guys think that the COVID year has even created more crazy? Because it was almost like another mulligan that added to this constant change. And, of course, then you add another year. Did that lead to it, or was it going to be like this whether we had COVID or not?
No, I think COVID hurt it. I think it's going to be 3-4 years before you really see the back end of the COVID thing, where it kind of evens itself back out.
Well, on Oklahoma, I think they'll be just fine. It's going to be different, obviously, post-Lincoln, but I think they'll be fine. They just got to shore up some of those, the bleeding out that they're doing on the recruiting trail and the transfers. But if they can, there's enough players in the portal to go find some replacements. That's for dadgum sure. I think OU will be just fine. I'm very intrigued by Brent Venables as a head coach, and just having Levy's offense. That's going to be very interesting. But high hopes for them. But as far as the transfer portal, I saw today, Brian Kelly and LSU put out a graphic, and typically the graphic's like, we won this many bowl games and blah blah blah. It was directed entirely at transfer players. From the LSU football account, it was directed entirely at guys transferring, and it was like every transfer star that they've had for the last 5 years. And it's like, here's this guy from 2019, and this guy transferred here in 2020, and I'm just sitting there looking at the graphic going, golly, they're pitching transfers now. That's insane, man. They're making graphics for the transfer portal all of a sudden. So I don't know what you do. I saw, somebody brought up just randomly on Twitter of putting dates on it, having a time period where you can or cannot jump into the portal. And then a lawyer immediately spoke up and said, well, that would be anti-something that, would be illegal. So now legal stuff has gotten so involved in this that there's really, I don't know what you can do. And these daggum leaders, man, everybody's telling them hey, be careful what you wish for. This train's coming down the tracks. Be careful what you wish for. You have to make a move, but you be smart about it. And so they made their move, but I don't think they were very smart about it. And I don't know how you put the bunny back in the hat all of a sudden, because there are certain things legally you're just not going to be allowed to do that will be antitrust or what have you. So I don't know. I know I don't like the direction that it's going, though. I know I don't like seeing that horns for hearts thing. I just think that's so bogus. And
yeah, it's legal, but
it's legal. And hey, charity, yay, and all that. But come on, let's call it what it is. It's so bogus.
The charity thing is just so they don't get questioned about it.
Yes, exactly.
It's kind of like people who don't have to pay taxes. They find ways around it. All right, for one note, before we take the break, Pittsburgh's Heisman Trophy history. I'm not going to get into everybody. Larry Fitzgerald was a runner-up in 2003.
Yeah, he's great.
Dorsett won it, as you mentioned, in 76. Hugh Green, runner-up in 1980. I think George Rogers of South Carolina won it that year. And Marshall Goldberg in 37 and 38 when it began. Was it, God, who was the first Heisman Trophy winner? Something. He was third the first year and second the next year. Those are the ones that have been at least a finalist. Craig Hayward, Ironhead in 1987, finished fifth in the voting. Dorsett was fourth his freshman year. Mike Ditka, how about that name? Sixth in 1960. Matt Marino was fourth and ninth. Fralick sixth and eighth. So those are some of the great names in Pittsburgh Heisman Trophy ballot. Mickey Spagnola on the Cowboys is coming up next.
BetUS.com, the 3-decade leader in online sports betting. Use our promo code SICK'EM125 for 125% bonus on cash, or SICK'EM200, that's 200% bonus on crypto. Lots of great stuff to bet on. Look, you got Army-Navy on Saturday. You got the NFL tonight and on Sunday and Monday. You've got NBA, college basketball, some great stuff that's coming up down the pipeline as we get into the new year. Plus, anything and everything pretty much around the world. You can bet on that. They got horses. They got everything at BetUS.com. If it's a sport around the world, they've probably got it. They've got the action for you there. So go to BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'EM125 or SICK'EM200.
Payments for qualified buyers at 2.9% with $5,000 down cash for trade. TTL Extra. See dealer for details.
Get the quality pre-owned car you need now at a price you can afford at Richard Car. Find great deals like a 7-passenger 2016 GMC Acadia for $225 a month, a 2019 Ford F-150 for $438 a month. Plus, get top dollar for your trade now. Richard Car. Pre-owned vehicles go through a 172-point inspection, and our aggressive lenders say yes when others say no. Find your next car or truck at Richard Car today.
At Richard Car, we give you more.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Masters of Barbecue, kings of crazy good food, and the perfect sanctuary for sports, beer, and barbecue is Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco and also on Highway 84 in McGregor. A menu filled with choices like a great offensive playbook, including 3 meat combos with sides, burgers, and sandwiches, wings, loaded giant spuds, and salads, crazy wings, chicken poppers, big boy fries, and smoking quesadillas, just some of their amazing appetizers. There's Coach Big Ol' Draft Beer, or order Zach's Spicy Bloody Mary or Coach's margaritas and mimosas while watching your favorite team play. Great pecan smoked barbecue, fun atmosphere with attention to detail, including a catering menu, and we'll quote your price to fit your budget. Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco, and walking distance to the great places to shop and enjoy, and also the original location on Highway 84 in McGregor. Great food, great price, great fun. Eat where the locals eat.
Brad Boozer Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I've seen people walk in there. First of all, you have so much to show. Whether necklaces, bracelets, rings. You have the watches. You have numerous great watches as well. You really have pretty much everything, don't you, when it comes to jewelry?
That's correct. Kind of a one-stop shop and all. And the fact that we have the 2 jewelers on staff, the repairs we can do, the fixing of your jewelry, and the remaking of any jewelry has really set us apart from anybody else.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
And Prescott on the keeper, walks in, touchdown, Dallas.
It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, joins us on Thursdays. Cowboys have had a little bit more of a breather after 3 games in 12 days. Washington on the road this weekend as they start the final 5-game stretch with Arizona down the road, but they got to win a game to make it even more of a separation in the East. Mickey, thanks for your time. It appears as if after a stretch of 2-3, after that great start of 6-1, that all of the game, like everybody, McCarthy's back, COVID clear, players back. It seemed like the whole gang's almost all back together again.
Yeah, almost all back together again. And boy, I guarantee you it was a welcome sight because it was a tough go there trying to win a game in New Orleans when you don't have your head coach, David. You don't have your 2 offensive line coaches. You had to shut down the weight room because all 3 strength and conditioning coaches were out. All those people were out with COVID. And so all the coaches are back. They gotten Randy Gregory back on the practice field. We'll see if he's ready to go. They're optimistic, but it's not a certain thing. It seems like more Neville Gallimore will be ready to go. DeMarcus Lawrence has got a game under his belt since playing for the first time since the season opener. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, getting all these guys back on the field. Now the only blip in the screen this week is Tony Pollard has not practiced the last 2 days. He has a case of plantar fasciitis, and as we know, it's a pretty painful thing. So I think what they're trying to do is just get him to Sunday, see maybe what he can do before the game to see if he can play. If not, they've signed former Falcons running back Ito Smith to the practice squad. He was a 4th-round draft choice of the Falcons when Dan Quinn was there. So they could always move him up, and then Corey Clement would be the other running back. The good thing is Zeke has practiced all week, so that's 2 weeks in a row he's practiced fully, and they actually were in pads today. And by the way, talking about all the things they had to overcome, with the crazy schedule they had, this was their first padded practice since going into the Atlanta game a month ago. So I think from a physical standpoint, they're in better shape, rested, and probably even more so mentally, just getting a break from everything they had gone through.
Zeke's still a concern, though, right? Because that bruise is not just completely going to heal while he's still running on it.
Well, Paul, first of all, it's not a bruise. I don't know how that got started, but it sure did get started. He's got a ligament sprain in there, and as he says, he says it gets stiff on him, and he said once he gets the stiffness out, then he feels, okay. They did an MRI on Friday or Saturday, and he said it came back, positive that it's getting better, that it's improving. Now, he says, it probably won't get to 100% until it rests for a long period of time, but he feels like he can play. They'll rely on him. I don't know that he can go out and take 25 snaps 25 carries if Pollard isn't there. But I think, what would help him the most if the offensive line plays better and create some holes that he could actually get through instead of having to plow his way through, getting hit at the line of scrimmage and then have to push for 3 yards. So that would help him out immensely.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Now, Mickey, I know everyone knows where everybody is and who's maybe right now Arizona, Green Bay, where they are. Cowboys have got to kind of come out of that funk, and at 8-4, they're still pretty good. And they're in control of the East, and they're about to play the East, which might be a good thing. What about overall looking down the road to tiebreakers? You do play Arizona. You do not play Green Bay, and I know there's 5 games left. But where are their wins and losses when it comes to tiebreakers in division, conference, etc.?
Well, if we look at the conference, the Cowboys have the best second best conference record in the NFL, only better by New England in the AFC at 7-1. The Cowboys are 6-1. And really, from a conference record standpoint, when you look at the NFC, 6-1 is the best. Arizona's 6-2, Green Bay 7-2. We have a 5-2 with Washington, and then the rest are either 500 or under 500. So, from a conference record break standpoint, they're in pretty good shape. But again, their last 5 games are against NFC teams, and 4 of them in the division. So the way I look at it is they need to at least go 3-2, and one of those 3 has to be a win over Washington, because if they get to 11 wins, then that means for Washington to get to 11 wins, they have to win out. And they can't win out if the Cowboys beat them. Now, if they sweep the Cowboys, that's another story. And then everybody's in for a fight to the finish. So this game is important, but the other games are important too. So it's not like if this thing gets reduced to 1 game, then, this thing's over. Washington's going to win it. They've got to win games too, and they got to play 2 games against Philadelphia yet also. So somebody's got to lose some of these teams when you're playing in the division the way it is.
Mickey, how much do you expect to see from Neville Gallimore?
Well, if he's able to play, I would imagine, 20, 25 snaps, something like that. We have to remember, he hadn't played a game since last year, because the last game he played was a preseason game when he dislocated his elbow. And so he didn't have to have surgery, but it was a lot of rehab. And first time out, I don't think you want to overdo it. I think if we look at what DeMarcus Lawrence did playing this past Thursday for the first time since the season opener, I think he played like 37 snaps, and that was more than they had anticipated. I think he just kind of squirmed his way in there a little bit more than they wanted. 25, 30 snaps at most. But you know what? Having him out there, and if Gregory can get back in time for the game, they would have their projected starting defensive line out there for the first time all season, because he didn't play in the opener. DeMarcus Lawrence played in the opener. Randy Gregory, how about this? It just kind of dawned on me, and I looked it up. Randy Gregory started his first season opener in his career, and his first year was 2015. It would be, quite helpful to get all those guys back on the field. And if they're not all there this week, then I'm guessing next week they have a much better chance.
Mickey Spagnola with us, DallasCowboys.com, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Washington was 2-6. They're now 6-6. Perhaps part of that is because they got a kickstart with the win against New England, Tampa Bay with Brady. They seem to be kind of playing that style that reminds me of a couple of other teams when they have had pretty good runs near the end of the year. Now, I don't believe in them as a playoff team, but they put themselves in position. Why?
They played well defensively. The most anybody has scored on them during this win streak is 21 points by the Panthers. They've held the Seahawks and the Raiders to 15 each, and they held the Bucs to 19. So if you can play defense like that, then you don't have to lean on your quarterback. They can afford to run the ball, and then throw deep. And, Antonio Gibson certainly gave the Cowboys problems last year. So did J.D. McKissick. And so that's what they want to do. And that's kind of Ron Rivera ball if you follow his head coaching career. So from the Cowboys standpoint, it would behoove them to score some points, to get a lead, to force Taylor Heineke to play quarterback and not just choose when he wants to throw the ball because they're running the ball so well and that they're still in the game. David, everybody makes a big deal out of what New England did on Monday night, running the ball and all that win. But the reason they were able to do that is because they were playing so well defensively. Because had they fallen behind by 2 scores or so, they couldn't sit there and act like they were Army running a wishbone offense, right? Just running it all the time. So the key, I think, to Washington's surge is they've played well defensively.
Mickey, thank you. Interesting. It's still Cowboys and what used to be Redskins, now Washington football team coming up this weekend. Cowboys win. They give themselves a cushion plus a win with one of the teams right behind them as they try to win the NFC East, and they have a chance to just get that done pretty quickly. All right, thanks to Mickey Spagnola. Coming up next, Craig Smoak and Off the Radar, Sikkim 365 Radio, and 365 Sports. Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it. Marcos.com. Go online, and you can find what they have right now. They're offering online order, delivery, carry out, or you can go pick it up yourself. Unlimited large 2-topping pizzas, carry out only for $8.99, and use the code word or phrase of hot to go. Also, large specialty pizzas, $3 off. You can order right now. Use the code SPECIAL. Unlimited medium 1-topping pizzas if you're having a gathering and you want to get maybe just more than just one. You want to get 3 or 4 different types. There's a picture here. It's got one with the Italian sausage, one with pepperoni, and one that just has vegetables on it as well. Extra, if you want to, whatever else you want to put on top. It's the 3-cheese topping. It's the original sauce that they had back when they started back in the late 1980s. And there's over 1,000 stores in America and 4 in Waco with Bob Mock, the owner of those franchises in Belmead, Woodway, China Spring, and also Robinson. Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco is a hidden gem. They've got a great selection of spirits, wine, and the most extensive selection of craft beer in Waco in their gorgeous walk-in fridge. And they have an amazing array of high-end bourbons like Pinhook, Weller, Buffalo Trace, Brush Creek, Hotel, Garrison Brothers, Thomas S. Moore, Hooten Young, and Bardstown. Great customer service and a convenient and speedy drive-through window. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness continues to add more weapons to your getting or staying in shape arsenal with 8 brand new treadmills ready for you to run or walk a mile or 2 or 10. And with the explosion of interest in pickleball with instructors Joe Rosa and Jody Thurman with more courts available. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with large flat screens stretched across the weight room with Wi-Fi available, their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports. Everywhere you look, there's energy, passion, and commitment. New touchless water fountains outside of each locker room, and all the locker rooms with showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts with a youth academy led by pro Britt Coleman. Fitness and tennis merchandise available and a tanning bed. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes including twice-a-week boot camp. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Shorty's Pizza Shack at 12th and Bagby is a homegrown, family-owned and operated must-visit pizza place in Waco. Fantastic pizza by the slice or get the whole pie to share. Great happy hour specials every single day, and it's not just pizza. Great wings. You have to try the Sikkim sauce, chili cheese fries, pizza pillows, and more. Dine in for a great hangout or carry-out. Order online at shortyspizzashack.com or do yourself a favor and bring your crew to the restaurant at 12th and Bagby. Shorty's Pizza Shack. Tell them Paul sent you by.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar. Brought to you by Pickup Outfitters. Since 1997, we've been outfitting trucks, SUVs, and vans at 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
All right, welcome into Off the Radar. Taking a look at just grab bag of stories from across the sports landscape. And we'll start off with Florida State and their athletic director hire. I know something that Paul's been monitoring very closely. And by the way, thanks to Pickup Outfitters for their sponsorship of this segment. Yep. Do appreciate them. And Paul, looked like Vince Tyra was all set to leave Louisville and go be the new athletic director at Florida State. And in a surprising turn of events, you know, a day after what Tyra got out of like his contract and everything seems to appear to be, you know, set up for him to go lead the Noles in Tallahassee. Instead, it is Michael Alford, who is the new athletic director at Florida State, an in-house hire. He will begin officially on January the 3rd. He has been the president and CEO of the Seminole Boosters for the last year and a half or so, and was previously an AD at Central Michigan from 2017 to 2020 before joining Florida State. And he succeeds David Coburn, who I know you weren't really a big fan of, right?
Well, I mean, he was supposed to be the interim AD who came in to fix the books, and then he had the job for like 4 years.
Just around, he just stuck it out.
He just was there, and it stayed in this kind of hamster wheel of like, come on, if you want to grow, you got to get somebody who knows what they're doing in the modern athletic department. It's not a knock on David Coburn, but he was brought in to do one thing. He did it and then kept the job. It just didn't make sense to me.
Not his fault.
Yeah, I know. I'm not, like I said, but it was more everybody above him not making good decisions. What Vince Tyra did, from the best I can see, was he and the president at Louisville, who's now going to Penn State, had a conflict. The board was kind of upset with both of them. Vince Tyra used this job offer from Florida State to get his 30-day non-compete dropped and his 30-day out clause dropped so he could go take whatever job he wants, which apparently wasn't the FSU job. And it was the new president anyway at FSU who wanted to bring in Vince Tyra. So then it doesn't happen. Florida State really got used in this. And then they hired the guy that everybody thought they were going to hire all along, which was Alford. So it's weird.
Yep. So, weird, but they have their new athletic director. So Alford instead of Tyra, and FSU will move forward. But that was a little bit of a surprising turn of events and interesting kind of way of handling it by Vince Tyra. Meanwhile, EA Sports, the new college football video game that everybody's been waiting on for, ever since it ended. And then there was the announcement, earlier this year or a few months back. I lose track of the timeline of the last 2 years, quite honestly. But they had the little teaser that was put out about college football and a video game returning. Corey Moss, who is the CEO of the Collegiate Licensing Company, said that EA Sports is aiming to launch the new college football video game in the summer of 2023. That's the hope as of right now. And obviously with NIL and name, image, likeness, that's allowing this to happen, because now you can use name, image, likeness, and it's not going to be the generic game where you have everything but the players' names on there, even though they look like the guys, they play the same positions, and they wear the same numbers. It will actually be, Gary Bohannon listed on the video game or whatever. But summer of 2023 is what we're looking at, and that will be when you can get your hands on the new video game, the new college football video game, which I'm sure a lot of people will go nuts over.
Jack is going to be there on the first day. I know he will. You won't? No?
No, he's not going to. I thought he was a big college football video game fan, but I guess we're both wrong on that.
I thought for sure. Oh, yeah, he's mad at EA Sports. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. He's upset with EA Sports. Well, that's good news.
By the way, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm good.
All right. Simone Biles has been named the Time Magazine 2021 Athlete of the Year. The magazine saying she helped to propel mental health to the forefront of a broader cultural conversation. And Biles told the magazine, "I do believe everything happens for a reason, and there was a purpose. Not only did I get to use my voice, but it was validated as well." She's arguably the greatest gymnast of all time. And, she went through a lot this past year. So Simone Biles, Time Magazine Athlete of the Year.
I wonder if the tennis player was involved in that voting. The young lady that withdrew, that had problems with press conferences, and she just kind of went into hiding.
Naomi Osaka?
Yeah. I wonder how much she got involved in that voting as well. Okay.
I don't know.
Did you have a problem with Simone Biles getting it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
She went through the whole Larry Nassar thing, and and then the injury, and then having the whatever the term is for gymnasts. Simone Biles went through a hell of a lot, so congratulations to her on being the Time Athlete of the Year. The HBO Lakers series has now got its title and its premiere date. This is going to be interesting to watch, because I saw a little bit of the preview of the look at the Showtime era Lakers coming from HBO. It's based on the 2014 book Showtime by Jeff Pearlman, and it's got Adrian Brody as Pat Riley. And have you seen the pictures of him?
Yeah.
Very 70s Pat Riley.
Yeah. I think John C. Reilly is Dr. Jerry Buss, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's got an interesting cast. I'm excited to see the Lake Show documentary, or not documentary, the series.
Yeah, so HBO Max Twitter account, they've been promoting a whole lot of it. It'll be coming tomorrow, and Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty will be coming out, I guess today, maybe 24 hours later. So yeah, that's going to be out, the new Lakers HBO show, so you can check that out. Pat McAfee, he's really had a hell of a career post NFL, and his radio show and all that he does. He's was Barstool for a little while, and then basically launched his own deal. And, he's got, like a lot of people like we do, we've got BetUS. There's others out there that sponsor shows and whatnot. And FanDuel's one of those. And FanDuel and Pat McAfee have come to terms on a new deal. It's a 4-year deal. It's
crazy.
It's actually got an opt-out after 3 years, but a roughly $30 million per year deal for the Pat McAfee show. 4 years, $30 million per with FanDuel. He put out a video to announce it, and announced some various donations to charity, not for an offensive lineman to come play for him, but just actual charity. So, yeah, I mean, Pat McAfee, you got to respect the hustle, the personality, the grind. He seems like a great dude, was a heck of a football player, very entertaining, and dabbled in wrestling a little bit, even though I don't watch that product. But give it up to him, man. What a rise for Pat McAfee.
And it has been skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And he is as cool in person as you could imagine what you may see on his TV show.
Yeah.
Go FanDuel. There we go.
Florida International expected to hire Mike McIntyre as head coach. Just one note out of the coaching carousel. I know Florida International not exactly taking the headlines from a lot of the other schools. Also, Hugh Jackson reportedly set to become the next head coach at Grambling State. That was from earlier today. So just, again, more of the coaching carousel going on there. Tonight in college basketball, a couple of games out of the Big 12. You'll have number 7 Texas at number 23 Seton Hall. Also number 17 Iowa State taking on Iowa. So a little Cyclones versus Hawkeyes coming in basketball later tonight. That'll be an 8 o'clock tip-off, and there's a bunch of other games, but those are the two out of the Big 12. Also tonight in the NFL, Steelers and Vikings at 7:20. That game being played in Minnesota, so that'll be your NFL action this evening. And finally, Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Paul sent this to me. Trevor Lawrence is speaking out a little bit, and he's talking about his teammate and running back James Robinson. James Robinson has not really benefited from the Urban Meyer coaching change in any way. He's been put on the side for Carlos Hyde on more than a few occasions. Carlos Hyde, of course, played for Urban at Ohio State just a few years ago. But the Jaguars have been getting pummeled. They're a terrible football team, terribly run football team. And there was good stretches where he was not playing. James Robinson just wasn't out there. So now Trevor Lawrence has come out and said, in my eyes, obviously, I'm the one that's out seeing all the pieces moving. I see the whole picture. Bottom line, James is one of our best players, and he's got to be on the field, and we addressed it. I feel like we're in a good spot, and the whole team, we're good. Whatever may have happened, I don't honestly know everything that went into it. But he's advocating for James Robinson to be more involved. And, there's obviously a lot swirling with Jacksonville right now, and who knows, Urban Meyer, what in the hell is going to happen there. But Trevor Lawrence at least speaking up and saying one thing he'd like to see.
I think the weird thing is that Urban Meyer has said if you fumble the ball, you get benched, which is fine. I mean, good. But then when the second running back fumbles a ball and goes back in, it makes it seem strange.
Yes, very much does.
So, of course, if you have that rule and you have two active tailbacks and then everybody else is kind of something else, you kind of paint yourself into a corner. Eventually, if they both fumble, one of them's got to play.
Yep, so Trevor Lawrence and playing the game stuff happens on the sideline with coaching decisions. I don't really get into that, but I know and I voice my opinion. James is one of our best players, and he's got to be in the game. So there you go. That'll be a few things off the radar. That'll wrap it up.
Yeah, were you going to tell the Mac Jones story about New England and their win or something? Okay, that was still nuts. 4 passes in their win on Monday night in Buffalo as well. We're going to be joined by TCU head football coach Sonny Dykes here momentarily. Also today in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll have Paul in an hour from now, Paul Catalina's top 5. Earlier today, former Oklahoma Hall of Fame and Super Bowl coach Barry Switzer, Mack Rhoades joined us as well. And we'll talk, we've discussed the coaching carousel quite a bit as well. There have been so many changes. And one of them was just right down the road from TCU to SMU. One note, Baylor volleyball. They won the first and third sets against Minnesota in the regional semifinals, but lost in the 4th set and then lost as well in the 5th set. And Minnesota advances the number 12 seed past Baylor into the round or the Elite 8. And on the other side of that bracket, Wisconsin is one of those teams as well who could be next for Minnesota. Hold. We're going to do a break? Okay, we'll on hold a little bit with Sonny Dykes as well. Now, I had a couple of other things. Mike McCarthy today at his press conference back, and you could tell he was so happy to be back in Frisco at the Ford Center with the Cowboys in practice. Mike McCarthy, Clarence Hill on his Twitter feed, did Mike McCarthy guarantee a win on Sunday against Washington? I happened to be listening to the time when he meant this. He goes, we know what people think of us. We know who we are and where we are. We're going to win this game. I'm confident about that, too. And, of course, in this day and age, you take that quote and Mike McCarthy guaranteed win against Washington. And, okay, you can do with that whatever you want, but that was rather interesting. We're now joined by the head football coach of TCU, Sonny Dykes, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Sonny, thank you, Coach, for being a part of the show. How hectic is it after the last games, and especially with you at a new program, even though a familiar program, the travel, the recruiting, the different places, the dinners, the banquets, and all that stuff right now?
Yeah, it's really hard to describe it. There's so much going on in today's world. You're trying to recruit the players on the team that you just became the head coach. You're trying to recruit high school kids. You're trying to hire coaching staff. So there's a lot of really important things happening all at once. It's an exciting time, but it's a hectic time. And, the good thing is I think we've accomplished a lot of our goals that we set out to accomplish. I think we hired a great staff. I think that we're making some inroads in recruiting. And, and I think our current players are getting to know us a little bit the best that they can while we're here. we look forward to to being here and being able to spend some time around our players.
What was the biggest draw to TCU for you to move across town?
Well, I think the big thing is obviously the Big 12. Just being a chance to know you're going to have an opportunity to get in the college football playoff if you win the conference, or have a really good year. I think that's one of the things that, that I think any coach wants to have an opportunity to compete at the very highest level and recruit the best players and play the best competition, and just felt like a chance to be in the Big 12 was a great opportunity. Obviously grew up around this league, at Texas Tech for a long time, 7 years as an assistant, and my dad being in the league when it kind of became the Big 12, and just to have a lot of respect for the Big 12 and what it stands for, and the coaches in the league and the institutions in the league, and for me it was kind of where I always wanted to coach, and it was exciting to have an opportunity to do it.
What do you kind of view the Big 12 as is now? I mean, for so long, it made its bread and butter on being the conference that didn't play any defense. At least nationally, that's what we always heard. And then the SEC copied the offenses, and now it's like the coolest thing in the world. But a lot of defense is being played in the Big 12 right now, especially this season. Just how have you seen it kind of change over the last couple years, and what do you think of kind of the look of the conference moving forward?
Yeah, I think it is interesting. I do. I know when I was at Texas Tech, it was, we kind of came in the league, and I was fortunate enough to be with Mike Leach and some of those really bright coaches that we had on that staff then, and changed the league in a lot of ways. When we got in, it was kind of an I formation league. Everybody ran the ball. And then we kind of started to open it up a little bit, and everybody began to do that. And then about, 2007, 2008, 2009, then every game was a 40 to, 47, 45 or 42, 41 or whatever it was. It seemed like a shootout every week. And you can see that it's like everything else in football. It's starting to become a little bit more cyclical. And, you look at the teams that played for the Big 12 championship this year. I believe it was the two best defenses in the Big 12 this year with Oklahoma State and Baylor. And so, I think it does go to show you how important it is to play great defense. At the end of the day, defense is always going to give you a chance if you can play great defense, a chance to win every time you take the field. And that's what you want to have as a program. You want to have an opportunity to be able to win that game no matter what, no matter who you play, and no matter what happens. And if you play great defense, you can do that. So, the league has changed. If you look, normally, again, there's been so many great quarterbacks that played in the league. This year, not as many as older, experienced guys, a little bit more of a younger group of quarterbacks. And I think as a result of that, the defenses seem to have the upper hand this year. And, that's always fluid. Those things change year to year. But as I said earlier, if you're going to win this league, you better play defense.
You have pieced together a lot of your staff, not all of it. I think there's still probably some openings, and if I'm wrong, let me know. But there's some names. I covered Malcolm Kelly before he was at Oklahoma, and he's a great player at Longview. Tell him I said hi. Smokey said hi. Obviously, Samples, Kaz Kazadi, a great strength and conditioning coach, among others. How difficult is that? Is it like a chart where you have certain names for every position, and you just kind of got to go through that like a puzzle?
Yeah, I think in some ways I was lucky. Kaz and Rashad were both with me at SMU,
sure.
So those were easy. Rashad's such a good recruiter and does such a great job of, identifying with our players and being a role model for those guys. And then Kaz, I think Kaz is one of the elite strength and conditioning coaches in college football. So those two guys were with us. And then, Malcolm was here at TCU and heard great things about him and got to know Malcolm a little bit, was fortunate enough to get him to stay on and continue to coach the outside receivers for us. And so then what you have to do is you got to go hire the best guys you can hire and try to, to balance the staff out. You want to have, some young guys that really enjoy recruiting and are eager to make a name for themselves in recruiting. And then you want to have some older guys that have experience and have been through some battles. And then you have to figure out a way to hire those guys and create a culture where they work well together and all those type of things. So, putting a staff together is kind of a difficult art in some ways. It's kind of a balancing act. And then especially in today's world, there's so much movement in college football, being able to hire somebody and then retain them is not easy to do in some cases. And so, things changes all the time. I still need to hire two coaches. I think I got a pretty good idea who I'm going to hire, but as we get down the stretch here in recruiting, it's going to be important to get that staff finalized and finished out.
Is it more difficult recruiting high school players or recruiting your own roster when you get to a new place?
I think both. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, as you said, that's the first thing you have to do. When there's a coaching change, there's obviously a lot of uncertainty. You have young people that have, decided they wanted to come play for a different coaching staff that maybe had a different philosophy and ran things differently. So what you got to do with those guys, you got to sit down and make sure you do a good job effectively communicating, this is what our program is going to look like. This is what we're going to be about. This is what's going to be important to us. And if you feel like that fits your ideals and your goals and kind of program you want to play, well, then stay here and help us win championships and help us, build this thing. And if those two things don't align and you don't identify with those qualities and characteristics, then you might want to move on. And that's kind of, what we're doing right now, getting to know the current players some. Our strength and conditioning coach, again, Kaz, had about 3 days to work with the guys to see where we are just as a program and, see what our attitude and work ethic's like. And so it's been good. It's been very productive. The rest of us have been on the road recruiting, banging our head against the wall, trying to find as many good players as we can. And so it is a very hectic time. So you spend all day on the telephone, either talking to recruits or talking to players back here in Fort Worth. So it's a hectic time for sure.
Sonny, is there's discussion about the early signing day that's created maybe a lot of the early change during the season, mid-season in college football with coaches. Do you like it the way it is now with the early signing period? What would your suggestion be?
It's hard. The mid-season, coaching changes, I don't think are good for the game. And certainly, what happened this year, in our situation was some of these jobs that made sense, for our coaching staff, opened. We're at Texas Tech and then TCU. And then all of a sudden, there's a lot of conversation about this coach is going to leave or this guy's going to go there. And, it's really creates a tough situation for the coaches and in particular for players. And really that's what this whole thing is about, is the players. And so, it's not any fun to go through that when there's just a lot of talk and a lot of speculation. And, you have to be truthful with your players all the time. You got to tell them what's going on and what your situation is. And it's hard. I mean, that's a very, very hard thing for young people to deal with. And it's certainly not a great situation. So I'd like to see if they could maybe, change push the signing day back a little bit. I think that, I think it was a great idea. I understand why they did it early. But I think when that happened, all of a sudden, athletic directors felt like they needed to make these changes quickly so they could go hire the coach that they really wanted to hire. And, that created some really bad situations for coaches and, like I said, more importantly, for players. You
were at SMU and had the great run, and it didn't end quite the way you wanted. With all of the speculation, do you feel like the way you handled it with SMU and waiting until the very end was the way it should be handled?
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, when you coach that team, you sign up to coach the team, and I think that people think that you're working behind the scenes and all this, and you're really not. I mean, you're trying to, you owe it to the players to do everything you can to try to win every football game, and our staff did. Everybody worked incredibly hard, and it's unfortunate, like I said, the way what comes out in the media sometimes isn't always completely true. And all of us, the coaches, the players, everybody poured everything we had into trying to win as many football games as we could. My goodness, you invest your whole life into an institution. Every minute of every day is designed to put those players in the very best situation you can put them in and try to win as many games as you can. And again, you do it for the players. And so when something like that happens, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's hard for everybody, and it's not a great situation, and creates a lot of anxiety and uncertainty, and it's not ideal. But sometimes it's what happens, and you got to figure out to try to handle it the best you can.
You coached Tanner Mordecai, and what a year he had, and we covered him when he was at Midway and obviously came into your place from Oklahoma. Can you look back and discuss him and what he did, how he improved, and how he fit your system the way he did?
Yeah, he had a great year. I mean, he really did. He, the thing that I loved so much about Tanner, he came through the door and just said, "Hey, look, I want to compete." Didn't want any promises, just wanted an opportunity to compete for the starting job. He came in, he rolled his sleeves up, he went to work from day one, learned the system. The good thing about Tanner was he was in a system very similar at Oklahoma. Garrett Riley, Lincoln's brother, is our offensive coordinator, and what we do and what they do is very similar, a lot of the same terminology. So it was an easy transition for him. He had experience, seeing things and had the same kind of philosophy of coaching quarterbacks and playing quarterback that he had at Oklahoma. So that helped. And he transitioned very fast. I mean, he just came through the door. He competed hard. He did a great job of taking care of the football. And he hadn't played a lot of football in college, and you would never know that by the way he played. He just, played with a calmness and a confidence that was really fun to watch and fun to be a part of.
Have you ever met a more serious young man than Tanner Mordecai?
Yeah, he's pretty serious. Yeah, he doesn't. It's funny. I would try to joke around with him at practice, and he would look at me like I was crazy sometimes. He's like, "Hey, just leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't distract me. Go away." I would try to lighten it up a little bit. He wouldn't have any part of it.
Sonny, if you don't mind me asking you this as well, you know that the Big 12 will expand at some point in 2023 with the 4 schools. You were just at a school that has been a part of the discussion about maybe even further expansion with the Big 12, where you're now at and locked in with TCU. Do you feel like SMU is ready for that move to be a Power 5 program?
Yeah, I do, without a doubt. I mean, I think that, what's happened is the program's gotten better. I think every coach been there has improved it. We felt like we improved it. The commitment has gotten better. I think everybody at SMU realizes how important it is to play big-time college football and what it would mean to the university to get in the Big 12. So I think the investment from them will certainly happen. We've got a great administration at SMU, a fantastic president, a great athletic director, and I know they're going to do everything they can to position SMU in the best situation in the best way that they can. So I'm optimistic that at some point they're going to get in, and I certainly hope they do. They deserve it.
Coach, were you on staff with Dave Aranda at Tech?
I was, yeah. Dave was a graduate assistant when we were there. Yeah, we had a great staff. I mean, you go back and you look. I mean, it was a fun group of coaches, and Dave was a GA there. Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, you got Biedenbaugh and yourself and Aranda and a ton of other guys. Your thoughts on just seeing the young GA? And we know he's not the most talkative. He's gotten better just in the last year. I can only imagine what he was like back then, but to see his growth and to see what he's done now as a head coach through his first couple of seasons, just curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know Dave's. I don't think Dave's changed much. I mean, he was very serious as a young guy back then. Really thoughtful. Was always one of those guys that didn't say a whole lot, but when he said something, you knew it was well thought out. Had a plan for everything. You could tell that he was going to be a different guy. If you go back and you look on that staff, I mean, Dave was a graduate assistant. Lincoln Riley was a student coach. Biedenbaugh was there. Dana Holgerson was the inside receivers coach. Art Briles coached the running backs. I coached the outside receivers.
Jeez.
Ruffin McNeil went on to be a head coach, was on the staff as well. Cliff Kingsbury was a quarterback. Graham Harrell was a quarterback. Sonny Cumbie was a quarterback. All those guys are, either NFL head coaches or college coordinators. And a lot of the guys, Wes Welker now is a wide receiver coach for the 49ers. I mean, there's just a lot of guys that got into the coaching profession that were there. And it was a fun time to be on that staff, and Mike Leach was great about, letting everybody kind of share ideas and talk. And it was a really, it was a special group of people to be around. And a lot of guys went on to be really successful, and it was a fun time. It really was. And as I said earlier, we were kind of at the forefront of changing college football in some ways, just with air raid and what was going on, and it was really a fun place to be.
Hey, Sonny, congratulations. You've always, we've had you on before. We had you on a couple of times, even during the summer and also during the season. Good luck. Are you having fun? I mean, is this newness of it? I know you've been in coaching, but are you having as much fun as you can imagine right now?
Yeah, it's a very exciting time. I mean, I think TCU is a program that has huge, possibilities, and I'm really excited to be here. I love the people that I'm working with. I'm really enjoying getting to know our players. I just think this place is really a special opportunity. So, I'm excited every single day I come to work and optimistic about where we're headed. We got a long way to go to get there, but I know we have a chance to do it. And so really love being here. Fort Worth's a great place to live, and excited to get my family over here and get everybody settled and hit the ground running.
Thanks for our time during the busy time. Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
No problem. Yeah, it's good to talk to you guys.
You too. Sonny Dykes, head football coach at TCU, replaces Gary Patterson after, 21 years there as a head coach. I think it was 21 years as the head coach, one of the longest lasting tenures, Kurt Ferentz among one or two others, and he takes over going from a team that beat TCU. Remember that story in part of the meltdown of Patterson when SMU won that game, and now he's the head coach at TCU. It's 5:16. We mentioned Baylor had a couple of commitments, future classes, a couple of young men from a program that has great tradition in East Texas, Dangerfield High School. Names like Thomas Everett, names like David Mims, Steve Stutzman, among others, Willie Everett. Well, they have two commitments for the classes coming up, 23 and 24, and we'll talk to Grayson Grunhafer, recruiting analyst for SicEm365.com, next on SicEm 365 Radio, 365 Sports. The warehouse and the office building are going up, fully framed. Now they're sheeting the walls, and the building is starting to take shape. That is from Braden Embry, marketing director, works and has been at Pioneer Steel and Pipe with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan, but this is the new location going up in Waco, Texas. Smokey told me this, we have prided ourselves forever on service, and I've told you that forever. Now we'll be able to carry much more inventory, metal building supplies, metal roofing, pipe and steel, and also a more efficient loading process to get things out to our customers even sooner than they do right now. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, all about metal buildings. Their customer service, a lot of business say it. Some of them okay with it. Some of them deliver, and they've done that since 1943. And what you need when it comes to product to build large buildings or even things around wherever you are, real estate or commercial. It's Pioneer Steel and Pipe, the Pioneer Boys, since 1943. That alone is incredible. PioneerBoys.com.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Jay from Pickup Outfitters here with your holiday gift-giving guide. So it seems the air fryer is an, air quotes, hot Christmas gift this year. An air fryer? Come on, really? First, an air fryer is not a real fryer. It has no grease. It's a mini convection oven. And you probably already have one of those in your house. So you're just wasting money on something that's not even real. You know what is real? A grill guard. It's made of real steel and it protects the truck of someone you love. And you can get one for that special person on your Christmas list at Pickup Outfitters. So avoid common Christmas gift mistakes like house slippers, a beard, nose, ear, hair, and eyebrow trimmer, or a man purse. You better not. Give a Christmas gift that says, I love you. A grill guard, a toolbox, running boards, and other great gifts at Pickup Outfitters. You can even get a gift certificate to let them pick out whatever they want. Pickup Outfitters is the Christmas gift headquarters. 220 Lake Erie Drive in Waco.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and the workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas. Also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
The Big Finish sales event is going on now at Allen Samuels. The new 2022 Ram 1500 Lone Star Quad Cab has values up to $6,750 or 2.9% for 72 months, plus $2,000 bonus cash. First responders get an extra $500. Ram, the winner of the prestigious J.D. Powers Initial Quality. The Big Finish sales event is now at Allen Samuels, 201 West Loop 340 in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Single coverage, end zone, shape, and it is caught for a touchdown! Tyquan Thornton with Christian Holmes all over.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Before we get to Grayson, and boy, do we have a lot to discuss. This is something I saw last night. A young man with the name that you cannot make up. DeColdis Crawford.
Well, I mean, you can't make it up because somebody made it up for him. But
great name.
I don't know. I've never heard the name DeColdis, but it's great. Yeah.
Blessed to receive an offer from the University of Cincinnati. He's in that uniform, of course. They've got that. DeColdis Crawford.
He just decommitted from LSU, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Very good player. And he has an offer from the University of Semifinal U in Cincinnati. We're now joined by Grayson Grunhafer.
Next segment. We get a little time. He was at 5:30. It's 5:20.
No, I said 5:20 on this lineup.
Oh. I thought 5:30.
Okay, that's okay.
I've got his open coming up in the next one, so we can take another break.
That's fine. That's good. That's good. All right. Well, we'll get to Grayson Grunhafer here momentarily then. Now, Sunday, Baylor and Villanova men's basketball coming up 2 o'clock at the Farrell Center. I think it is. If you look at the ratings, if you also look at the value of 3 of the last 5 national championships, and yes, Villanova winning 2. They met last year at Butler Fieldhouse, where, what's the name of the movie?
Hoosiers.
Hoosiers was filmed or part of, and won their game against Villanova, who led Baylor at halftime, and then Baylor went on an onslaught of forcing turnovers. They're going to play again. They've played Jay Wright, Hall of Fame coach, and Scott Drew and company will host them on Sunday. That's going to be one hell of a matchup on Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Farrell Center. Now, let's see here. There is one of the top quarterbacks in the FCS, Cameron Ward from Incarnate Word. Akron has a quarterback who's entered the transfer portal as well. How much do you think these nuggets of players from the FCS or non-Power 5 conferences value is now more than ever in college football just because of the position itself?
I have no idea. I mean, are you saying, is their value higher now? I mean, I suppose so. I mean, yeah, if you're a player who was overlooked and ended up in FCS because of just being overlooked, or Grades, I don't know. Whatever route you took to get there, if all of a sudden, you have some big schools that are interested because you're a Jarrett Stearns who's suddenly putting up monster numbers for Western Kentucky, then, you can go. I mean, I don't know really what the question is. The concern,
4,600 yards passing, 47 touchdowns this year for Incarnate Word, owns all the school records, over 79, almost 7,000 yards passing. How much do the FCS schools have to worry about the transfer portal? Because most of the things we hear about is what if the FBS Power Fives or Group of Fives. How much now are those going to be farm systems for the transfer portal for this position or others, and they have a year left or two and they go play for the Power Fives?
I wouldn't be as concerned considering that whatever rises to the FBS level, they'll get back tenfold from people who aren't cut to be at that level. So, if Incarnate Word loses this one guy, which is going to suck for them because he's the best player maybe they've ever had, but they'll also get back 5 guys that can help them because the transfer portal really does benefit the FCS more than anybody because you can actually fill your roster with guys who are never going to play, they're never going to play at even Duke. They're going to play at Duke, but they can certainly play at Incarnate Word, so they're going to go find a place to play. So I think that you might lose some of your superstars, but I think that those will be few and far between compared to what you're getting back in return.
Yeah, like a Sam Houston State loses, let's say a guy, and now like half their offensive line this past year was from Baylor. So, I think they get a good enough return. I mean, they don't get superstars back, and they lose theirs in some cases, but again, we saw this coming. This was another thing that was going to be a part of the mix when you just basically opened the floodgates and said everything's allowed and nothing's not allowed. Going and cherry picking other rosters or talking to guys who are on the Sam Houston State roster or somewhere like that. I don't think any of that's off the table right now, and even if it is, it's still being done anyway. So, I think you have to be somewhat concerned by that, but I think those guys ended up where they were to begin with for a reason. So, there might be the occasional guy that's overlooked or the occasional late bloomer, like in this case, or somebody that's maybe, for whatever reason was off the radar and is very much on it because of what they went and did. So, I think it's great for a player like that can go play at a higher level. Sucks for Incarnate Word, but it trickles back down as well. So I think it probably works out okay.
Coaching change, Eric Morris is leaving or out, and now he's looking around. He's 6'3", 220, a junior, has 3 years of eligibility left. A Twitter feed this season has been unbelievable, from the highest FCS ranking in program history to the most wins in program history, conference champions, winning the first playoff game, and much more. To be a part of something great has been a blessing, and yet now he's looking around. There's programs that need quarterbacks, right? And Incarnate Word has now been a farm system for somebody to go, and that is, he did what he could do there. But, we mainly look at the Group of Five or the Power Five schools and what happens, and you just start to wonder, in the end, you know what, Craig, good point. Those who are being in the transfer from the transfer portal from Power Five schools will end up maybe at Incarnate Word.
Yeah,
if they can't find somewhere else that's not where they want to play or willing to talk to them.
That's the best part about the transfer portal. To me, is not Justin Fields. It's the guys that can go to Sam Houston and play and win a national title that we're never going to see the field somewhere else, or that got caught up in the wash and just maybe look. Especially like you think about quarterbacks, there's a lot of quarterbacks that move around the system, but there's a lot of guys who might get, because they're a quarterback, an opportunity at a D1 school, or an FBS school, but never play, and then they just want to play. They go down a level, play at Incarnate Word, at Sam Houston, at wherever, and that's that's great about the transfer portal. I think that the FCS will get back way more than it throws in.
Yeah, I think so. That's interesting. The Akron quarterback was going to visit Nebraska. We damn sure know they need a quarterback, and he's going to end up going probably to Georgia Tech or somewhere else after he canceled his visit. They can't even get a guy that's from Akron.
Well,
and he's going to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Yeah,
I think it does strike a balance. Like, some guys probably should have been higher recruited or probably should have landed at a bigger spot to begin with. But again, referring back to, for whatever reasons those may be, grades or just overlooked, whatever. It's good to see that they get the opportunity to play at a higher level, and they've earned that opportunity. But I think that it all kind of balances out in the wash. But of course, the focus isn't on those guys; it's on the Quinn Ewers, and it's on, those cats, and that's the way it's going to remain. But yeah, if teams go about their business and don't worry about just striking rich with stars all the time, then you can certainly go find some really quality football players that are deserving of a bump up. And I think there's, oftentimes every recruiting class has misses. This recruiting class for Baylor that just won a Big 12 title, they were like half the class that were hits. You had a bunch of hits. You had Terrell Bernard and Jalen Petrie and guys like that. But you also had half that class that was off campus within like 2 years because of discipline issues or just weren't good enough and had to transfer out to go play somewhere. So, yeah, it's an interesting balancing act.
All right, when we come back, Grayson Grunhafer, Baylor had a couple of young men from Dangerfield High School commit to them, 23 and 24. His thoughts about that, the pipeline, and maybe a visitor this weekend that's very filled with a lot of stars, and where that may be going with that story. Grayson Grunhafer, Sikkim365.com is next. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Don's Humidor and Coffee Beans in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco. Loaded. Their 48-foot walk-in humidor filled more than ever. As you get ready for Christmas, if you want to buy a cigar or a group of cigars, a sleeve of cigars, a box of cigars, for somebody for Christmas, they can help you out. And let's say you have somebody that smokes cigars and you want to buy them some, but you don't know exactly what they like. They have gift cards available as well for stocking stuffers and or gifts. They have coffee beans, fresh ground right there in front of you. Cowboys, one of the favorites. In fact, the flavor, the aroma, the taste as well. And then they have the CBD product, Invita Dreams, that allows you to, it's a gummy. Take a nibble of a gummy. You kind of learn along the way. You have a gummy. Next thing you know, you maybe a time or two, you toss and turn. It allows you to fall asleep and maybe settles you down. And by the way, it's not going to worry about drug testing if you end up taking the gummy. It's not a problem at all. It just allows you to settle down. And sometimes you have so much on your mind it doesn't matter, but the gummy bears can help quite a bit from Vita Dreams. And Don's Humidor and Coffee Beans, tell Carol, Ashley, and Cheyenne Smokey sent you in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
It's Baylor football season, and as always, Berg Colgin Ford supports the green and gold. Hi, I'm Mark Stewart with Berg Colgin Ford. It's time for team celebrations and BU touchdowns. Berg Colgin Ford is your home team when it comes to trucks and tailgates. Ford has the perfect truck for you to host a top-ranked tailgate party. Here's to a winning season for our hometown Bears. Visit us anytime at bkford.com. Buying made simple at BK Ford. Sic 'em Bears.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from select, choice, or prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Erie Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You know what would make this moment better? Pizza. Dough made from scratch and an Italian family sauce recipe pizza. 3 fresh signature cheeses making a melty blanket of perfection pizza. Like loads of premium toppings like crispy Old World pepperoni, savory Italian sausage, and fresh sliced veggies pizza. That's Marco's Pizza. Visit marcos.com and make any moment better. And with 4 locations in Waco, Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grunhafer of Sikkim365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Baylor had a pretty good day yesterday, although it's the future. That's what recruiting is. And so is even the transfer portal. A couple of young defensive stars from Dangerfield. They were just knocked out in the quarterfinals by Wascom in the quarterfinal round. Committed to Baylor, and Grayson Grunhafer, Sikkim365.com recruiting analyst, that joins us to discuss that. Grayson, I had talked to David Mims, former Dangerfield and Baylor star, and he mentioned he thought these guys were close. I know you are all over it. Your thoughts about what Hampton and Rogers mean, at least to kickstart the future?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't offered all that long ago. Neither one was, and they were offered very kind of closely together. And both guys mentioned Baylor as a dream school. And, I mean, that makes perfect sense, and that's kind of why they made their decision so quickly. I know for Jakevian Rogers, he is Denzel Mims' cousin, and he also went to the Baylor versus Oklahoma State game for the Big 12 championship. And I think that was probably a big reason why he ended up, committing. It kind of solidified things for him on that end. And as far as Aaron Hampton goes, he built good early relationships with the staff. I know he's close to Treston Ebner as well, and I think that was a big part of his decision. Of course, Treston tweeted at him as well about making the decision early. So, Hampton's at 2024, so still a long way to go in his recruitment, but he's got a good offer list already, and is a guy who I think people are really excited about the fact that they were able to land him because, he's a very highly rated prospect. And then Jakevian is a guy who I think is going to be a riser in the 2023 class. So very, very talented.
Grayson, with 6 days now till the early signing day, do you expect to see, especially with all these coaching changes nationwide, Baylor maybe flip some guys?
I think there's a possibility. I think the bigger thing right now for Baylor is, focusing on getting the commits and having them all sign on Wednesday. And then, of course, the official visit weekend. They're going to have a few official visitors in this weekend, and they're going to try to round out the 2022 class before waiting till February and maybe having a couple guys out there that they'll try to land at the very end. So, a guy like Davion Bryce, who is currently committed to Oklahoma, he's going to take an official visit to Baylor in January, and he's a guy who's probably going to visit TCU. He already took a visit to Texas Tech, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on going forward as far as a possible flip. The other guys are kind of, I think, still to be determined. I think the staff needs to see who decides not to sign on the 15th, and then maybe they can, use that last month or so to try to go in and land a guy who's maybe decide not to sign and is just verbally committed somewhere that they could flip.
So, Grayson, a pretty good game on Saturday, Big 12 championship. Baylor wins in dramatic fashion. And your thoughts on the game and what comes out of that, and also just the momentum that it gives them, in terms of the message of the program and building it up and what Dave Aranda's doing now and looking like he's going to be around for a while. Just your thoughts on the impact of that win.
Well, guys, 3 commits in a week because they landed Hawkins Pauly out of Stratford, the 2023 tight end as well. So, I think that's a clear sign of kind of how this program is trending coming off of that Big 12 championship win. A lot of people are excited about it. A lot of recruits are excited about the win, excited to see Baylor have success, and excited about what they saw from this team resiliency-wise and kind of the culture that Dave Aranda is building. So I think that's the biggest part of this and the biggest key to this. And so as far as the game goes, it was awesome. What a performance by Baylor. And, I talked to Trey Emery today, who's going to be signing on the 15th with Baylor, the big defensive tackle out of Mount Pleasant. And, he was just telling me how just it was a clear sign of the culture they have and the resiliency they have to get that goal line stand. And I think many people forget, Oklahoma State kicked 2 field goals inside 23 yards. So, that goal line stand was not the only one of the game. And they just were absolute money in the red zone. So, terrific, gritty performance. And I don't think you'd want anything other than that for this particular Baylor football team. They just found ways to get it done all season long.
What about the young man from Allen, the offensive lineman? I'll say young man from Allen. I'll let you pronounce his name because you're good at that.
Yeah, Neto Umeozulu. He is a big-time prospect, a 4-star prospect. He's an interesting one. He's had one of the more quiet recruitments I can honestly recall for a guy that's as high profile as him. He's used 4 of his official visits already. The rumor is that he is on an unofficial visit today to Baylor and then is going to go to TCU this weekend for a visit. And I'm not sure if that one's going to be his final official visit or if it'll be an unofficial visit. And so I think for Baylor, if they're going to end up landing him, it will probably be if he decides not to sign on the 15th. If he decides to wait, I think it gives Baylor a better shot because they could secure the final official visit. But if he does sign on the 15th, I kind of expect him to go somewhere else. He's taken his other official visits to Alabama, USC, Texas, and Oklahoma. And then, of course, Baylor and TCU are kind of in the mix with these last visits. So we'll see. He's on the radar. He's got a great relationship with Brian Nance. He's been on campus a few times, came for a game and also came in the spring. So it's not out of the question, but the momentum currently does not seem to be trending towards Baylor.
With National Signing Day around the corner, in fact, we might have you on pretty much turn around early in the week next week as well. What do they have to clean up? Anything? Anyone getting loose?
Yeah, I think if you look at the class, you got to feel really good about the guys they currently have in it. They all seem pretty solid to Baylor. I know there have been rumblings. Kyler Jordan had a great relationship with Joey McGuire, and Joey, that staff, they offered him at Texas Tech, and they've been recruiting him, and he's from the Lubbock area. But as of right now, he had great visits with Dave Aranda, and he's still committed to Baylor. And so we'll see what happens on signing day. He's one to watch for sure, but right now I think Baylor is going to be the spot for him. At least that's what I'm expecting at the moment. And then the other one is one that kind of started trending a different way during the week, and that was Jordan Neighbors. A lot of talk about Texas Tech, and there were crystal balls for him to go to Texas Tech. And I think that is one that Baylor's going to have to fight for. They're going to have to fight to finish and land Jordan on signing day. But, the thing of it is I do think Jordan, coming into this, he had built a really good relationship with the staff, even outside James Blanchard, who was his initial contact and his best relationship. But I think he has built other relationships on the staff that I think at the end of the day will have a great chance of winning out when it does come to signing day. But he's another one to watch because things have been a little bit iffy over the past couple weeks since Joey and James left. But those are the two that I'm looking at right now. There's a few others out there that Baylor's looking to pick up, but the guys in the class outside of that seem pretty solid to Baylor.
Well, I mean, if you win a Big 12 title, your staff's going to stay intact, and you need receiver help. I mean, what else are you going to do if if that's all you can say if you're Baylor, and if that's not good enough, then okay, you move on to the next guy. But Grayson, in terms of where you expect them to be by the end of next Wednesday, obviously then attention turns toward the second signing day, and of course the transfer portal. Where are you looking at as far as what Baylor maybe hasn't addressed at this point, and what they will need to address post next Wednesday?
Yeah, so by this time next Wednesday, Baylor needs to have found a way to at least added one defensive lineman in the class, a 2022 defensive lineman. They got two of them on campus this weekend with Paul Oyewale, who is between Baylor and TCU. It's going to be a head-to-head to the finish, it seems. And then Devontae Tizino out of Killeen Ellison. They got to find a way to land the local product. If they can land both of them, they'll feel really good about the class, but they need to at least land one of them. And then, of course, cornerback is an area they need to address. Colleen Shoemaker, cornerback, Kamari Terrell seems like the most likely option. I mentioned Xavion Bryce in January, but I think Terrell is the one to watch on signing day, on this specific signing day. But then after the first signing day, it is going to be transfer portal, and then it's going to be just the leftover guys, the guys who hadn't decided to sign somewhere, and Baylor's looking at them and trying to evaluate guys who are going to be late signees. But, they'll probably add a couple more, I think, in February. And I think the transfer portal, they're probably going to look to add, 2 or 3 guys from the portal. And I know they offered one this week, the Western Kentucky offensive tackle, Mason Brooks. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on going forward. He's a 2-time first team All-Conference USA player. A lot of people are expecting him to go to Texas Tech, but it's pretty clear that he's going to let the recruiting process play out instead of just making a quick decision. Of course, the reason I'm saying that is because the Western Kentucky offensive coordinator and offensive line coach went to Texas Tech. So that's why people are making that connection. But talking to him today, I still think Baylor is definitely in the running with him. He built a good relationship with Eric Mateos during his high school recruitment when Eric Mateos was at Texas State. So they reached out to each other and have been talking over the past few days, or I guess days, since he entered the portal. And so he's one. And then, of course, Marcus Banks, the cornerback out of who is transferring from Alabama, he visited Baylor during the season on an unofficial visit. So he's another one to keep an eye on.
All right, Grayson, we'll see you next week. It's that time of the year. And you did see, I guess, where they are discussing the early signing period and the possibility that, I don't know if there's momentum or not because of all the coaching changes. Sonny Dykes brought it up with us just now from TCU. That I think, don't you think in the end, if you could pick one signing period, and there always was one in February, the first, Wednesday in February, what would you see if there's going to be an early signing period? When do you think it should be?
Yeah, I was actually a big fan of the early signing period when it first started, but the problem is the transfer portal has just kind of derailed that. And so now you might as well give guys more time to make a decision. So I've always been a huge fan of the February signing period. And also, I think it's cool to have one day, one universal day instead of multiple. I just think it makes it more thrilling, more exciting if there's just one day. So I would prefer the February one. And it also gives guys more time to make a decision. And, with the transfer portal, I mean, you might as well give guys as much time as possible just so that there's a greater chance they make the right decision.
Grayson, thank you very much. Grayson Grunhafer. This is Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. He will join us National Signing Day next week, the early National Signing Day period. If you do it early and you have still all these coaching changes, it's even more of a mess because these guys are locked in because they've signed. If you move it back to January, will it prevent the mid-season coaching changes? Now that trend has started, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to just split the difference. Put it back in January. Put it on January 9th. I don't care. First Wednesday in January.
National title game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Well, so then put it the week after the national title game. That's fine. Split the difference. But, I'd rather it be then. So, although now the Super Bowl's been moved back a week, so keep it the first Wednesday in February. You're not competing with that, so.
Yeah, it used to be right in the middle of it. 3 out of every 4 years, it seemed to be that Wednesday during Super Bowl week, and it always stressed me out because we were trying to do our coverage from the Super Bowl, but we had the core of what we were doing with National Signing Day, local high schools, and also with Baylor's Signing Day as well. When we come back, Paul Catalina's top 5 in just a second. We do have high school football tonight on Sikkim 365 Radio and 106.7 FM The Eagle. It's a Class 2A Division I semifinal game. Marlin, and they have Division I players. They've made a great run, 3 early losses in their season, and they play Hawley tonight up in Weatherford. Kevin Schaefer and Micah Cartwright with that broadcast on 106.7. This is Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio with socially distanced seating for your enjoyment. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs and veggie burgers too. State Fair tornado fries, nachos, and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
The year is wrapping up, sports bettors, but BetUS still has your NBA, NHL, college football bowls, UFC, PGA, and of course NFL betting lines up for their 27th year. Live betting on all of it. Log in to BetUS.com today. Use our promo codes SICKM125 for 125% bonus on cash, or SICKM200 if you use crypto. So use the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com. Use promo code SICKM125 and SICKM200.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Payments for qualified buyers at 2.9% with $5,000 down cash for trade. TTL Extra. See dealer for details.
Get the quality pre-owned car you need now at a price you can afford at Richard Car. Find great deals like a 7-passenger 2016 GMC Acadia for $225 a month, a 2019 Ford F-150 for $438 a month. Plus, get top dollar for your trade now. Richard Car. Pre-owned vehicles go through a 172-point inspection, and our aggressive lenders say yes when others say no. Find your next car or truck at Richard Car today.
At Richard Car, we give you more.
you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist, Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it.
Let me look at Jordan Davis. Let me look at those guys and really think about